the third game in our Chzo Mythos playthrough. My personal favorite, Trilby's Notes. It's a text-based game for one. Like, you know, it's got visuals and stuff, but it's purely controlled by text-based commands rather than point and click. Although pointing and clicking still obviously is part of it. And it's also the game where we get the most of the lore, I think. Like, 6 Days of Sacrifice definitely wraps the series up and gives us a shit ton of lore too. But Trilby's Notes is just pretty damn cool. Hey, CR. Alright, let's get into notes. Oh, I should probably take a quick puff. I didn't have a chance to do that. Ben Yahtzee Croshaw presents. Yeah, now we use the keyboard. It's my fave too. I think most people it's going to be the fave. Commentary, yes, of course, baby. Yahtzee's log, star date, commentary. Time to do another of these already, hey? Oh well, I guess I shouldn't complain since this is probably the most enjoyable part of the game design process. Oh hey look, he's got a little picture of himself in the top right too. If you've played one of my special editions already, you know that pressing F10 anytime turns commentary on and off. If you haven't, then you fail as a person and are probably quite ugly. Oh Yahtzee, so rude. Let's do this. Cue music! The following documents are taken from the handwritten notes of Trilby, an STP field operative whose real name remains unknown. I feel really guilty about this scene because for most players it's not long enough to hear all of the music Mark Lovegrove wrote for it and the track is never used again. Yeah, the music in this game is great. And Nem says this game better explains the idol, and that's definitely true. I tried having it carry over onto the next scene, but that cocked up the atmosphere, didn't it? Why game over? What the fuck? That was what I thought as I stood and watched Defoe Manor collapse into flaming ash. The ordeal was over. I designed the handwritten font myself with Radiant's excellent CSI font editing tool. My biggest concern was that it wouldn't be readable enough, but most people didn't complain about it. You'd be surprised how long it took to make the notebook holes on the left line upright. It still looks wrong if you play in 640 resolution, so it's a good thing you're not doing that, right? We are, by the way. Those 5 days cost us all so much. Philip and AJ paid with their lives. They were the fortunate ones. Jim Fowler was expelled from school for truancy, a bright future in tatters. Simone Taylor took to the bottle. Her broadcast became slurred, her eyes hollow and unwelcoming. She soon vanished from television screens. As for me, I tried to return to life as a cat burglar, but I had been forever tainted by my time spent in that wretched house. I feel that some of this doesn't sync up with the ending of 5 days when Trilby appeared to brush off everything and remain cool and calm up to the end. Officially now, I guess in that scene he was putting on a brave face. Maybe it's the evolution of my writing style, but it seems to me that getting away from Defoe Manor without ill effects would make Trilby a very shallow character. The memories of my possession come back in my nightmares. Every night I was there again in the mansion, staring out through unfamiliar eyes as Philip died at my hands. I became convinced that John Defoe was not at rest, that someday he would return for me. I became so terrified of invisible enemies that I forgot about the tangible ones. Trilby caught, infamous thief captured in police sting. 2 slow, miserable years after Defoe Manor, a barrage of truncheon blows taught me a harsh lesson in reality, and I woke up to the kind of filthy cell I assumed would be my new home. Originally, the scene that said that Trilby was captured after 2 months, but then I replayed 7 Days of Skeptic and discovered I had placed 5 years in 1993 and the firing of the idol into space in 1997. But then he came, the man with from the government with his nervous smile offering an alternative. The STP, the Special Talent Project. Special Talent Project, we already know about that, he said that last game. But it wouldn't have been much earlier that I would have sooner died than entered an obligation with anyone, least of all the government, had Defoe Manor changed me so much. Whatever my reasons, I left my past behind and resolved to give my new superiors nothing to complain about. Spent a year and a half completing assignments, developing contacts, building a reputation. Whoa, hiccups. Does text advance, or is it just Yahtzee's commentary? I don't think it does. And then the past caught up. In the summer of 1997, I became concerned about Simone Taylor's mental well-being. The papers were reporting her continual breakdown, and she'd become a virtual recluse. I had no idea if my appearance would assist or hinder. I had, after all, deliberately allowed her to think me dead. Presumably she knew different now, after the media coverage of my arrest, but I would expect her to be bitter about my subterfuge. On balance, I decided that a meeting with an old friend would most likely be beneficial. I came to her apartment building on a warm, stormy night and braced myself for the encounter. Arrow keys to move, tap once to start moving, tap again to stop. To give a command, just start typing it and the text box will appear. Use simple sentences like look around or knock on door. When it's visible, you're free to move and issue commands. So then, Trilby's notes. Why make it? What ideas went into it? And possibly some other questions I can't think of right now. I guess partly I made it because no matter how many galaxies of fantabulous experiments or 12-13s I came up with, everyone kept asking me if I was going to do another Trilby game. Oh yeah! This was technically made after the other 3 games. Partly also, I had just read a whole bunch of game fact plot guides on Silent Hill and thought, whoa, it would be awesome if one day someone wrote something this obsessive about one of my games. Sounds shallow, but I was genuinely partly because of what I had decided to expand the X Days of Y storyline into something epic and mysterious for people to talk about. Working the events of 5 and 7 days into a larger plot was pretty hard, but once I had an idea, everything sort of fell into place, but you'll have to wait for the last game to see where I'm going with this. So yeah, we now move, and it's literally just WASD. Simone's apartment building was gripped by a thick smell of musty, unwashed carpets. It perplexed me that the celebrity would choose to live in such low-rent accommodations. Ooh. And this one does not like being alt-tabbed out either. Okay. Oh, right, and we don't hold the arrow keys, we just tap them to start and tap them to stop. Oh, and there's a Z and Y access. That's neat. I had no business with Simone's neighbor. Basic security measures ensured that was impossible. Yeah, but you're a thief, dude. I knocked sharply upon Simone's door. Oh yeah, and F3 lets us do the same thing again. Receiving no reply, I knocked again louder. Still no response. The doorman had assured me Simone was in. I decided it was time to enter by my own methods. Press tab or type inventory to view your inventory. Press tab again to close it. So like I said on the website, partly because of the presentation, reading Trilby's notes, partly an homage to the old text parser games, partly just for the challenge. Opinion seems to be divided on whether the parser is a good thing or not. Personally, I think both it and point-and-click interfaces have equal merits from a player's point of view. From a designer's point of view, though, text parsers are a right arse to build, and I will never ever attempt it as long as I live. Alright, I thought I had to hit T to open the text box. Okay, tab. Use lockpicks. Her reason that Simone could have been in trouble, and even if she wasn't, then at worst I was only playing to my reputation. I spent a few minutes feverishly picking the lock, then let myself in. This scene is pretty much directly copied from the first scene in my abortive first ideas for 7 Days a Skeptic, which would have been basically just 5 days in an office building. Seemed ashamed to waste the only good bit from the whole pile, so here it is. Right, I gotta stop hitting T to open the text box. Simone's bedroom light refused to turn on. I stood in pitch darkness, the intermediate flashes of lightning preventing my eyes from adjusting. Right, no T, no T. Open window. No intention of filling the room with wind and rain. Open curtain. I pulled open the blind. Incidentally, the thunder and rain sound effects both come from RPG Maker. See, it can still serve a purpose. Actually, the thunder was originally a cast thunder spell sound that didn't really sound like real thunder, so I had to mess about with it in Goldwave for a while. Somehow ripping off something and modifying it seems much less like cheating than just using it unchanged. Oh no, a body! So if you played the Crawling Shadow, and you should, even if it's a roguelike, you can unlock the Ministry Man. The Ministry Man is heavily implied to be Trilby. I don't think I know about the Crawling Shadow. Examine body. The body on the floor was undoubtedly Simone. I felt for a pulse, and my hands came away stained with long, cooled blood. My finger traced the outline of a large wound in her torso, slashed by a big weapon wielded by a big assailant. I called for an ambulance, as futile as it would be, and left before they arrived. Note that Trilby likes to keep his office dark. I guess force of habit means he can't work properly except in low light. This is one of my favorite music tracks. Props to Mark Lovegrove. All I had to do was describe the kind of emotion and atmosphere I needed for a scene, and he popped out stuff like this. Due to me being a clear murder suspect, I was relieved from duty for the week it took for the Ministry of Occultism to inspect the flat and confirm supernatural activity. My superiors simultaneously apologized and assigned me to investigate if there was a connection to the Defoe Manor incident. Merely reading those 3 words capitalized on the front of a loose-leaf file brought the nightmares back with more intensity than ever. Sure enough, a field agent reported that looters had discovered and had sold several artifacts from the house, including the wooden idol that House John Defoe sold. This seems as good a time as any to mention that when I started development, the game was titled Notes on an Evil Artifact. I changed it because it was unwieldy, and because I wanted some element of the title to be recognizable to 5 Days veterans, without using the old naming convention. The original title screen was just a silhouette of the figurine with a red glow behind it. I swapped it out for a photograph I took of my own computer desk with my hat on it. To my surprise, no murders had been reported or committed by anyone who had come into contact with the accursed trinket. I did not find this reassuring. I quickly advised James Fowler to go into hiding. He was stunned, but agreed. The boy had sense and still respected my judgment. This done, I began following the idol's trail. From the pawn shop it had entered the possession of one Professor Abed Chahal, an authoritative historian. He had scheduled some kind of antique fair in the Clanbron Hotel on a small island off the coast of Anglesey, popular with tourists. Nemsol says, had trick-or-treating only ones all night so far. You got to read what I said. I did read it, and in fact, I haven't actually heard of the Crawling Shadow. So that's interesting. I know the one game where Trilby does a steal, and you get to play that, but I've never gotten to play that because it's never worked for me. And I know 12-13, but other than that, I haven't played or seen any of Yahtzee's other games. That does sound pretty cool, though. Assuming the role of a scholar of antiquities, I booked a room. Also, for anyone who was paying attention to the last game, Chahal was the last name of the captain. This series really likes to reuse names and imply ancestry and stuff. On the 28th of July, 1997, I caught a ferry from Porthilachog in Anglesey and arrived at around 3 p.m. in Clanbronwyn Island's coastal village. It seemed a peaceful hamlet, and in defiance of stereotype, the locals were welcoming, and told me no local legends to dissuade me from exploring the island. The Clanbronwyn Hotel was in the island's center, surrounded by forest. I made my way there on foot. I kept forgetting if I had called the hotel Clanbronwyn or Clawunbryn. Last time I checked, it varied between the two from dialogue to dialogue, but I think I fixed it in most cases. See if you can spot any more. I might do it after in Soundmind during what I call Extended Halloween. Nice. You're Trilby, right? As soon as I arrived, I was greeted by a balding man in a grey anorak. I wondered if I was expected to know who he was. That depends. My name is Linkman. I'm with the Ministry of Occultism. Oh. I thought the Ministry were clear on the fact that I was handling this on my own. Maybe there are still people who don't trust you, Mr. Trilby. What? I haven't stolen anything since I joined the STP. Your colorful past is not what concerns my superiors. It hasn't gone unnoticed that your history with the Defoe Wraith influences you psychologically. I'm sure you resist it, but it could still cause you to act irrationally and disobey orders. Everyone just feels a little safer with someone else on the ground. I see. You can rest assured that I will endeavor to maintain absolute professionalism on this assignment. Nevertheless, I have my orders. I'd like to clarify at this point that the Ministry of Occultism and the Special Talent Project are separate organizations. The STP hires out its agents to any government branch that requires their services, so it's just in this case that Trilby works under the Ministry. I would suggest that we keep out of each other's way, then, and pursue separate investigations. I'm sure I don't want to get mixed up in a reunion. I watched him disappear around the corner of the building. I very much doubted that Linkman and I would become friends. No one's called me out on this yet, but later on you'll find that a fence prevents anyone from going around the corner of the building. Whoops. The Clanbronwyn Hotel lobby was a warm welcome. The building was certainly well maintained, and yet there was something about it that nagged at the back of my mind, quickening my pulse. I dismissed the sensation, an act which, in retrospect, I would come to regret. The rooms in the normal hotel represent a breakthrough for me, because in most of the games I'm never sure how to texture a wall. Either I had that funny wallpaper like I did in 5 days, or change the colors like in 7 days. But before I made this game, I made a point of looking at some real-life walls, and it seems quite a lot of them are just blank, flat color with a skirting board, with no needs for patterns or anything. No one cares about wall textures. Now all I need to do is convince myself that no one cares about Photoshop light filters either. Good evening, Terence Railby. I have a reservation. Ah, yes, you're here for the antique fair? We've put you in room 3C on the 3rd floor, if you'd just like to sign the check-in book. Oh, Bethan, just letting you know I'll be having dinner in my room today. That's absolutely fine, Professor. This, I decided, was what they called a golden opportunity. Professor Chahal? You don't need me to point out that Chahal is an ancestor of Barry Chahal from 7 Days, right? No, of course, I already pointed it out. Nah, I thought not. You're a smart person. You wouldn't have bought the special edition otherwise. Yes, I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage. Railby. Terence Railby. We met at Sotheby's a few months ago. Oh, you don't remember me? No, of course I do. Terry Railby. How have you been? The astute reader has already guessed that both Terence Railby and the previous meeting were utter fiction. I had spent some time studying Chahal's movements and habits. He was, by all accounts, absent-minded, and that was something I could use. So Trilby calls himself T. Railby and doesn't change his clothes at all. He's clearly gotten somewhat complacent when it comes to disguise, something that will come back to haunt him later on. But if I hadn't dressed him up like that, he wouldn't have felt like Trilby, would he? He'd just be some guy with a girly hairdo. I'm well, thanks. I was hoping I'd run into you. I've heard interesting things about the items you're showcasing here. You remember I do some freelance scouting for some wealthy collectors? Yes. Well, a client of mine has expressed an interest in relics from Defoe Manor in Buckinghamshire. He's been on my back for a while about it. Between you and me, he seems pretty obsessed. What remained of Professor Chahal's suspicion melted away from his expression as the opportunity to make money entered the conversation. Well, I'm sure I wouldn't want to damage your professional status. Would you like to come up to my room for drinks? Oh, I don't want to impose. No imposition at all. Please follow me. Your room key, Mr. Railby. Thank you. Please lead the way, Professor. By the way, he mentioned sometimes that the special editions had to be paid for. I promise I didn't actually pirate these. They did need to be paid for once upon a time, but after a while, he just literally released the special editions for free as well. I used to have to download them individually, but now he's got them all in one thing, like one collective download to download. So, just wanted to point that out. Abed, who's your friend? Oh, let me introduce you. This is my personal assistant, Siobhan. She accompanies me on most of my excursions. A word now on the character names. Abed Chahal and Siobhan O'Malley. Both, you'll note, are somewhat overly ethnic. I really don't know much about Indian and Pakistani names. Siobhan is Irish, actually? So I took the professor's names from two Asian people I have known. Incidentally, both were managers of somewhere I once worked. Oh, both about Shahal. Siobhan O'Malley's name I made really Irish, pretty much because she has red hair. And I chose Siobhan because it's the most traditional Irish girl's name I know, not because it's the hardest one to spell or anything. Siobhan's a nice name. Also, Irish chicks are best chicks. If you have trouble remembering it, you could always when you're typing commands, you could always just call her girl or woman. Those work too. You know, if you're a chauvinist. Oops, hey now. Siobhan, this is Mr. Railby, an old acquaintance. He's looking for information on Defoe Manor artifacts. Oh, really? Him and half the people we meet. What is it about that place? Never underestimate the attraction of a mystery, my dear. Please take a seat, Terry. I'll be right with you. The theme of the three parts of a human, body, mind, and soul, recurs throughout the game in various places. For example, you could say that the three main characters are each representative of one aspect. Trilby is the body, a physically fit man. Abed is the mind, a professor. And Siobhan is emotional and impulsive, the soul. The three aspects are also a pretty big part of the GameCube game Eternal Darkness, which we played last Halloween. And you may notice other ways in which that game inspired this one. Hell yeah. Part of the reason why this game's the best. So, interested in ghost stories? The girl struck me as a forceful personality. I gave the matter some thought before replying. Not really. I'm just scouting on behalf of a client, like I told the professor. You know, it's strange to see someone as young as you in the antiques trade. And come to think of it, I thought only old men dressed like that. No offense meant. None taken. I didn't catch your last name. It's O'Malley. Siobhan O'Malley. Couldn't be more Irish if I tried, could I? Yahtzee, ahem. Sorry to keep you waiting, dear boy. Now then, what shall we talk about? When talking to characters, you must specify a topic of conversation. There are usually several things each character is willing to discuss. For example, try typing talk to Abed about Defoe Manor. I guess the talking system is the part that most people hated about this game because it's harder to find all the conversations, and subsequently, the characters don't come off as well-rounded as they used to. For example, if you type Ask Siobhan about herself, you get one of the few strong hints throughout the game that the relationship between Abed and Siobhan was something slightly dodgier than a professional teacher-student one. Yeah, what does the guide say? Just literally ask about the idol. Okay. Well. Ask. I think I might have that spelled wrong. How did you come to work for the professor? I was a student of antiquity, studying under him at Warwick University. He offered me the chance to supplement my studies. She was very talented. Woof woof, etc. The theme of sexuality recurs now and then, which will eventually prove relevant to the whole body, mind, and soul thing. I'll discuss this further in the Freehorn scene and the Siobhan's room scene. Ominous. What have you been up to lately, Professor? Oh, do call me Abed. I'm doing a little lecture tour on famous antique collections at the moment, taking me all over the place. I was only able to attend this fair because I'm speaking at Bangor on Monday. Ask about hotel? I was talking to myself. Ask about bed? Thought impolite to discuss someone with someone else where they're still in the room. Ask about Defoe? Oh, right, no T. Ask about Defoe. Moonlit Florid, I didn't know it was your birthday. Happy birthday. Thanks, Moonlit. I am 28 today. Ask about the idol. Alright, let's cut to it. Tell me, does a huge man in a welding mask and a leather apron mean anything to you? Not really. Should it? Never mind. It's a small African figurine that my client wants me to look into, resembling a rather ugly tribal god. Rude. That old thing? Honestly, despite its age, it's virtually valueless. That's what I said, but my client is very insistent. He's interested in the paranormal, and the idol features in some of the more unlikely accounts of the Defoe Manor incident. Well, I don't suppose I should ask questions, if this man of yours wants to take it off my hands. I don't have it on me right now. It's being kept in the hotel safe. Perhaps we can work out a deal after the fair. I'd intended to display it with the other Defoe artifacts. Inwardly, I just wanted to get this mission completed as fast as possible, but I didn't want to risk suspicion or giving off the wrong impression. That will be fine. So, just out of interest, what else have you picked up from the mansion? Odds and ends, basically. Some silverware and ceramics. And the painting, of course. The painting? A landscape from a wall in the mansion's lounge. I think I skipped a line there. Of little artistic value, but the artist features prominently in Defoe Manor's colorful history. Matthew Defoe? That's him, yes. Bethan, she runs the hotel. She asked if she could display it in the lobby. Instantly I recalled the sick feeling I had felt in the lobby. I had seen the painting, but had paid it little heed. Oh. Are you all right, Mr. Railby? You've gone rather pale. What? I'm sorry, I was just distracted by my thoughts for a moment. Lost in history, eh? Something like that. Mr. Railby, what the hell was that? What the hell was what? You were just sitting there, then you went all stiff like you'd seen a ghost. This is Trilby's notes. You didn't see it? See what, Mr. Railby? It's the third game of the Chzo Mythos series. I think it was Richard Cobbett in his review who mentioned that this game seemed to abandon the group dynamic of previous ones in favor of a more desolate experience. That's true, and it's all about experimenting with different deliveries of horror. 5 Days was about a group of strangers already suspicious of each other, gradually learning to work together against a nightmare. 7 Days was about a group of friends driven slowly apart into mutual distrust by the same nightmare and being ultimately destroyed for it. Trilby's Notes is something different. It's about being in a nightmare and being the only one aware of it, with everyone else oblivious. It's about the horror of being alone with the fact that other people are around, but unreachable, only making it worse. I'm sorry, I have to go. Something's wrong. Oh, well, we won't keep you then. We'll see you later, maybe. My head was spinning, and a sudden nausea churned in my gut. The world seemed to be pulsating, the corners of the room wavering like a heat haze. Welcome to the other world. You may say I imagine these things, and I thought that must have been the case. Was I going out of my mind? Was the hotel really changing to some nightmarish twin? Was I the only one who could see it? If I was hallucinating, it was too complex. The harsh wooden floor beneath my feet felt real enough. The horrendous stench of rotting flesh that reached my nostrils could not have been conjured by my imagination. I decided that I had to find John Defoe's idol as soon as possible. If not that, then at least the painting Chahal had mentioned. I was convinced that some connection lay between Defoe Manor and this sudden madness. The light world, dark world juxtaposition is a theme explored constantly in the Silent Hill series, which is the best game series ever, and if you disagree, then you are wrong. I took that idea and added the ability to shift between the two worlds at will, like a system that exists in some of the Zelda games, in order to provide interesting twists to certain puzzles. The actual design of Dark World is inspired chiefly by the artwork of the Splatterhouse series of beat-em-ups, which were surprisingly graphic for their time. Incidentally, the 3-room hallways on the same floor are all exactly the same room with just the door numbers and graffiti changed. Alright, let me check the guide. Okay. I gotta stop hitting T. I'm gonna start typing. Sickly yellow paint was peeling from the walls, and splatters of blood spelled out mystifying phrases I can't read. Remarkably, the door seemed intact. The situation had reached the point I felt when politeness could be done away with. Wow, what a gentleman thief. I couldn't pick that open. Open door. The door was stuck shut. Open window. The boards were too firmly nailed on to remove. Look floor. No, okay. Open door. This is the room we were just in. Look. Blood splatters covered every wall and surface on the room as if someone had lost a fight with some horrible beast here. Metal tables and some kind of stone altar all showed evidence of recent slaughter. A mangled old sofa sat in one corner. Look at couch. The sofa was a rotting green color, and some kind of sharp weapon had created a slash right across the fetid cushions. Take. Look, Chzo. Look, table. 2 steel tables were provided as some kind of weak work surface. Bloodstains and a severed head were a strong indication of what kind of work they were intended for. Look. Take. Take lump. Take bloody box. Do you guys understand the word bloody? Okay, good to know. Look slab. Okay, we're leaving now. There's apparently nothing for us here. Open door. His body is here, his soul is not. Look graffiti. Look graffiti. Graffiti read, his body is here, his soul is not. I wondered if this was referring to John Defoe. Open door. Okay, that's the only room we could go in. Look. Stairwell was built from old concrete and a thick smell of damp filled the air. We'll go down next because I'm pretty sure we have to go down, but start by going up. Look. Look graffiti. I couldn't even begin to decipher the meaning of the words man, not man. What the hell did it mean? Open door. Open door. Look graffiti. I saw once more the strange word I'd seen on the wall in Abed's room, this time followed by the words, love me. Oh yeah, we didn't successfully look at that graffiti. My room had slipped into the shadow world, the walls and floor were filthy, and the furniture had been suffering with instruments of suffering. Look, table. Look, slab. Look, couch. Okay, nothing important. Look, graffiti. Blood seemed to be running down the stairs as if someone had attempted to descend them while bleeding out with increasing speed. The words, bring her back, were spelt out on the north wall for unknown reasons. Look, body. You can see nipples, boobies. Looks like some kind of porcelain mannequin, but with bits missing. I couldn't see how it was attached to the wall. Oh, I guess it's not boobies, that's just, or nipples, that's bloodstains. That's fair. Easy mistake to make. Promise. Oh yes, we wanted to go check out the graffiti in Abed's room. I just want to hear his thoughts on the name Chzo. Too bad we can't run. Blood was on the north wall. It had been used to spell out a word I could neither recognize nor pronounce. I pronounce it Chzo, but that's probably wrong. Run. Fun. Look, graffiti. Graffiti read, priest or prisoner, acolyte or slave. I had no idea who it could be referring to. It didn't sound like something John Defoe would inspire. How about we just look in general? No. Open door. Open door. Open door. Whee! Look, graffiti. Oh, wait. Look, graffiti. Blood seemed to be running down the stairs, increasing speed. The corpse had apparently spent his last few moments of life making graffiti. Was he responsible for all the messages I had seen so far? Look, corpse. The body was that of a young, muscular man, I hazarded, and was wearing some kind of old-fashioned military uniform, complete with blue tunic and riding boots. More to the point, his head was missing, and his hands were worn down to bloody wads of flesh and bone. I noticed a collection of handwritten pages on the floor near his body. Look, pages. They appeared to be entries from a diary. July 18th. Felicia and I took shelter from the storm in a decrepit hotel in the forest. It seems to be completely deserted, so we bedded down on the floor of the lobby for the night. It is so peaceful here, the noise of the storm seems far away. July 19th. In exploring the hotel, it has become increasingly clear that this place is not as innocent as it first seemed. We found ancient corpses and evidence of terrible deeds in several of the rooms. The storm has cleared and we intend to leave as soon as possible. July 20th. I am certain now that devilry is at work. Every path we take through the forest brings us back to the hotel. We spent a whole day trying routes to no avail. Felicia keeps talking of a demon she fancies she saw in the hotel kitchen last night. July 21st. Felicia is dead. I was too late to help her. I saw her murderer just as she did. Perhaps I will be next. I am beginning to understand. The murderous figure in black, the one whose body is savagely stretched into a mockery of form, is not the architect of this nightmare. Rather, this is the work of that hideous lord of the Forbidden Lands. Gods forgive me. July 25th. I built a shrine to my captor in the lobby in an attempt to appease it. Nothing has changed. I have no more food. The horror is starting to affect my mind. July 28th. I am certain my mind is going. I imagined for a moment the hotel had changed, had become finely decorated and welcoming as it must have been once in the past. I blinked and it returned to its normal, hateful self. The next few pages were sprinkled with blood, obscuring some of the text. August 1st. What is his relationship to that disgusting beast? Oh, relationship to the disgusting beast. Is he a servant or a prisoner? Sometimes he acts alone, sometimes he acts at the behest of higher power. What does he want from me? August 3rd. He's after me now. I think I must have done something wrong. August 4th. It hurts. That was the last readable entry. I decided not to take them with me. They were covered in blood and all stuck together. The unfortunate young man is not, as you might think, another hapless guest of the hotel who tripped into the Dark World. Rather, his notes indicate that he and his girlfriend actually originate from Dark World. This is a pretty strong hint, the other being Kabadath's talk in the last flashback, that not all of the ethereal realm is evil, just this bit, because of the presence of Chzo and the Tall Man. Elsewhere in this world are normal people who just happen to live with magic. I hear The Longest Journey use something like this, a realm of technology and a realm of magic, and I've been trying to find a copy of that game for some time. Those names mean nothing to you yet, I know. The lobby, too, had been tainted, and the painting I sought was absent. Presumably, it only existed in the hotel's normal form. If that was the case, I needed to find a way back there, or dispel the hallucination if this truly was all in my mind. At this stage, I was beginning to wonder if this really was all John Defoe's doing. It didn't seem like his style somehow. But what other evil could possibly be the culprit? How are you liking these spooky noises? This is another of my favorites of Mark Lovegrave's tracks, because once again he did me exactly what I wanted. I think my exact words when asking for this music were, something that he evokes the feeling you get after you stand up suddenly in a hot bath. And doesn't it? No. I don't even know what you mean by that. The entrance room of the alternative Clanwanbrin Hotel at least retained the basic shape of a lobby, in that the pigeonholes remained and an altar about the right size and shape for a reception counter. Look, altar. There was some kind of waist-high stone altar on which some poor wretch had underwent some kind of sacrificial ritual. Look, corpse. Someone had been tied down to the altar, flayed, and had their innards removed. By the looks of the horrible claw marks and broken fingernails, they had been alive at least part way into the procedure. Hi, Ghost, welcome back. Look, keyholes? Look, pigeon holes. Some of the pigeonholes contained disembodied organs and entrails, which presumably belonged inside the creature on the altar. Look, graffiti. Look, door. The glass had been smashed out of the windows on the front door, and a familiar plague cross was smeared onto the door of the manager's office. Open door. Look. The hotel's exterior was as corrupted as its interior. The ground beneath my feet was hard, red, and gritty, like desiccated clay. Look, pikes. Look, heads. The two heads on the right were decayed down to their skulls, but one on the left was very much fresh, its features made unfamiliar by the torment it had undergone. Look, hotel. Look, windows. Look, name. No. Look, great. Okay. Look, fence. Taking a closer look, I noticed that there were several knot holes in the fence. Can we climb the fence? Nope, too tall and sturdy. Okay, we can't seem to look at the balcony up there unless it's look ladder. May have once been a usable fire escape, but it was now so rusted and bent with metal fatigue that the slightest pressure would probably bring it crashing down. Hey look, we're back at the entrance. Get looped, motherfucker. Open door. Open door. The office door was locked. Torn wallpaper, bleeding walls, decay, and disuse. This room continuing the alternate hotel's tradition. What happens if we... No, okay. The three posters there are another reference to the recurrence of the body, mind, soul thing. The first poster is obviously the body of the tall man, which means that the other two represent the mind and the soul. One of them appears to be empty, the other appears to be broken. Decide for yourself which is which. Indeed. Look, posters. The left poster has some kind of portrait of the strange masked figure I had glimpsed in the hotel. Middle poster was blank, third was smashed. Look. Perhaps the alternate hotel bar had been like the real one at some point in the past, but it had long since fallen into disarray and appears to have been used for very sinister purposes. Happy Halloween, Shadow and Chat. Happy Halloween, Drac. Welcome, welcome. Look, arcade? It appears to be damaged, with the front plate ajar and frayed wires emerging from the rear. Strangely, though, the screen was active and flashing blankly. Look, bar. The furniture looks like someone had been hurled against them with absolute force. Lying at the bar, a pool of gore, was a pair of long-nosed pliers. Take pliers. They were rusty but functional. I took them with me. Here's something interesting. Try examining the pliers in both Light World and Dark World. The messages are different. Oh, hey. Thank you for the gift sub, Drac. Enjoy, Ghost. Look, kitchen? No. Look, bottles? All of the glasses have been reduced to shards by some act of violence I could only imagine. Pretty much. Alright, we can leave here. Here's where I went, how I went about making the whispering noise. First, I recorded myself whispering some stuff relevant to the plot. It is the guide, he seeks a bridge keeper, fulfill the prophecy, stop him, etc. Next, I recorded another track of myself whispering things like the pain, my flesh, burning, that sort of thing. Then I adjusted the pitch of the second one until both files were of equal length and layered the one on top of the other. After that, I made a copy of the resulting track, reversed it, and laid it over the original. And there you have it, the Blue Peter Guide to making scary whispering noises. Lol. It had probably once been a dining room, judging by the number of tables. There were a total of 4 exits to adjoining rooms. Look, tables. Tables are universally hidden under tablecloths, yellowed and stinking with age. There was a plate of rancid meat in the center one, adding its evil stench to the air. Take meat. Take meat. I tore off a lump of meat to take with me. If I came up against anything hostile and carnivorous in this place, it would help to have something other than myself to offer it. That's gross. Look at graffiti. The words "it feeds" were inexplicably spelled out on the north wall of the prerequisite bloody letters. Look, planks. 3 boards had been nailed up over the large double doors to the north. They were blackened in places, either very old and rotten or having been in a fire at some point. Look, corpse. Oh, I hit T again. Are you having a good Halloween, Drac? I mean, all of you in general, but... The body had been completely flayed, and still glistening wetly with blood. The hands and one of the feet were held in place around the door with 6-inch nails. You mean not 9-inch nails? Wasted opportunity. I hope the rest of you have been having good Halloween. You've been spending it with me. Oh, can we examine the pliers? He mentioned to do that. Heavily rusted long-nosed pliers with visible flecks of blood dotting the jaws. I'm doing alright. I got better once my family stopped dragging me out everywhere. Oof, that's rough, Ned. Kitchen doors refuse to open. Great. Use pliers? Was it parties and such? Use pliers on corpse? Pliers were ideal for removing the nails. Ah, hello. Let's take a look at the tall man. He and Chzo are a concept I've been toying with for a while, which is why I took the opportunity to inject him into the series. Yeah, this is where the series kind of goes into cosmic horror. His body is so inhumanly corrupted by his centuries of torture that he covers most of his body. The white mask, trench coat, and scarf ensemble may remind you of Rorschach from the comic Watchmen, because it certainly does me. I guess I'm just pretty fond of that kind of look. Originally, the tall man's coat reached only to his knees, but I extended it because it was somehow less intimidating to see his calves. Hey, the body disappeared. The body has vanished with the mysteriousness that was becoming typical. Gratuitous unnecessary driving plus unnecessary shop loitering. Trick-or-treaters tonight were light because we got back late. Ah, gotcha. Calves are apparently less intimidating. Apparently only arousing to many people. Nem said, I've only got 2 trick-or-treaters. I keep telling my mother we don't get many, but she's ever hopeful. Hey, I would be too. Halloween's best holiday. Toilets are a pretty good environment for horror, I would think, because like showers, they're places where we make ourselves extremely vulnerable. A lot of people got stuck in this room because they didn't know they were supposed to look at the counter. So if you're stuck, look at the counter, you jerk! Okay. Look, counter. The counter had 2 sinks and was covered in filth and mold. To my surprise, a brand new sealed envelope was sitting between the basins. Look, toilet. None of the toilets appeared to be functional. One of them was overflowing with blood, which left me disinclined to investigate the others. Open toilet? Lift toilet lid. Open toilet lid. Damn. Look, graffiti. Blood flowed from one of the sinks and one of the toilets, indicating some hideous presence in the plumbing system. No, there's the word no. Okay, can we look? No? Damn. Look, mirror. Cracks and stains twisting my reflection into something most unpleasing. Okay, take envelope. Take envelope. Baffled, I took the envelope. It was strangely bulky and tore it open. A white pill bottle and a note fell into my hand. I have enclosed the note with this report. Trilby. If you're reading this, then you too have seen the hotel change. At present, I have no idea if the alternative hotel is part of the ethereal realm or some kind of construct, a pocket dimension. There is definite correlation between one's level of agitation and one's tendency to reality shift. Fear is your enemy. It leaves you shining like a beacon for whatever evil brought us to this place. Enclosed is a bottle of tranquilizers for my personal first aid kit. When you find yourself shifting into the other place, take a pill and try to calm down, and the real hotel will return. Do not let it concern you. I am researching the phenomenon. Your task is to find Defoe. Good luck, Agent Linkman. Linkman's letter raised more questions than it answered. I pocketed the pill bottle. This was voice acted. Whoever voiced Trilby would have a hell of a session. Hell yeah. Trilby has an invisible anxiety score which goes up by 1 with each room change and is reduced to 0 by taking a pill. I think the normal world changes to dark world within about 8 to 12. The hallucinations that the pill causes occur completely randomly. 2 room changes after taking a pill. A random roll decides if and what hallucinations occur. The delusions are a chance to work John Defoe in references to 7 Days In without being too heavy-handed, and they're also a nod to Eternal Darkness and the insanity effects used in that game. Cool. So I think we have no choice but to... yeah, okay. Hesitantly, I tipped a tranquilizer into my palm and swallowed it without water. Quickly took effect. I felt the anxiety lift from the pit of my stomach, and my dismal surroundings seemed to feel less imposing. Then I felt that strange sensation again of lightheadedness and detachment as the world around me began to quiver. And we're back to reality. Look. Toilets were so clean and well maintained. Very tiles and floors seemed to glow with luminescence. Mirror above the counter was spotless and crystal clear. Look, mirror. Where's crazy Grandpa Max? Not here today. He's with the rats in the walls. I seem somewhat pale, but otherwise fine. Look, toilet. While the toilets were spotless, even in the hard-to-reach areas, as hotel management were either meticulously clean or these toilets were rarely used. Look, cabinet. Look, sink. Okay. Open door. Look. Dining room was rather small and sparse. It seemed the Clanbronwyn Hotel was only one step above a bread and breakfast. Could you remember that dumb joke? That was a fun playthrough. I quite enjoyed it. Too bad we never got to see the ultimate ending. One day we'll come back to it, I'm sure. Just plow through the game. Door, kitchen doors. So I can't enter the kitchen doors in any of them. Or in either of the worlds. Fuck. Open door. Appeared to be locked, probably by a deadbolt on the other side. Open door. Look. Hotel seemed rather small, but then it was a rather small hotel. Oh, hotel bar seemed rather small. There was only 2 small tables and some kind of defunct arcade machine. Look, posters. 3 framed vintage advertisements for 3 brands of drink decorated the wall. If they were originals, they were probably quite valuable. Arcade. I think it was a pub quiz machine. A piece of white card on the screen declared that it was out of order. Look, bar. 2 small tables were arranged for guests. The bar was wood paneled and it outfitted with an adequate selection of drinks and bottles. Take bottle. No, gimme. Damn. Couldn't reach. A row of glass drink receptacles sat along the top shelf behind the bar, so cleaned it seemed unlikely that they were used frequently. Alright, we're leaving. Open door. So we did not get a hallucination there. That's neat. Look. Just look. Lobby, reception, desk was all polished, pigeonholes are empty. Look, pigeonholes. Or many people staying at the hotel. Look, painting. I was frankly astonished that Matthew Defoe's painting had survived the immolation of Defoe Manor. As I stared at it, it seemed that the surrounding room began to blur until only the painting was in focus. I fancied I could hear the creaks and whispers of Defoe Manor hallways. I felt a bizarre urge to reach out and touch the painting. In a minute. Okay. In a minute. It's a pleasant summer afternoon with only a few clouds to add a picturesque feel to the clear blue sky. The beige frontage of the Clanbronwyn Hotel was to the north. Look, fence. Okay. Do we loop on this one too? Yep. We loop even in the real world. Look, ladder. Simple network of gantries and ladders with an entrance on each floor, just like a fire escape was supposed to be. More Half-Life sounds. Hell yeah. Yahtzee really likes his Half-Life sound effects. Oh, what do you mean you're not close enough? You're literally right there. Oh, shit. Okay, we'll see if we trigger a hallucination. Yep. It hurts. Shit. I wanted to type more shit. That might have made sense in another time and place, but not then. We'll see that later, actually. Oh, As I stepped closer, I could feel sound becoming muffled and my head spinning as if it were about to faint. My hand, as if pulled by an invisible string, reached out toward the clumsy brushstrokes. I recently replayed 5 Days a Stranger, and it occurred to me that Matthew Defoe's painting really seems to have gotten much smaller since it got here. Maybe it shriveled up in the fire or something. Flashbacks are another idea that infiltrated my brain after playing Eternal Darkness too much. In my defense, though, my flashbacks are really different. They occur in backwards chronological order, they're in black and white, and they're more like brief interludes than a crucial part of gameplay. By the way, this will only make sense to Nedben here, but this whole flashback system inspired the chapters of Tabula 2, as a heads up. Morning, Cop! Or late evening for us. Happy Halloween, my friend, although it's probably November 1st for you by now. Defoe Manor, July 28th, AD 1821. Matthew Defoe is 15 years old today. He is excitedly putting the finishing touches to a painting which his father commented on encouragingly, the first time he has ever been supportive of Matthew's artistic leanings. Happy birthday to me. Thank you, coppers. Matthew is now convinced that his father is lifting from the mysterious depression that has plagued him for as long as either of them can remember. Incidentally, if you're on Esberg on Archive and join Tabula 2, it's great. Hell yeah. Now he intends to make the painting absolutely perfect before showing it again. Knock knock. Master Matthew, Sir Roderick has requested your presence in the trophy room. Thank you, James. Oh, I missed something. Very good, James. Gotta be careful with that. The very dodgy-looking animal heads of Defoe Manor returned. Strangely enough, when I exported the background files, the colors were severely reduced, so fine gradients turned into thick bands of shading. Look at the light circles coming off the lamp. I just figured, hey, let's run with it. Ah! Hey! Thanks for the 15, Cop.
M-O-O-N-E-H day.
Moony day, he says. Thanks, Cop. Appreciate it, my friend. Oh, shit, we just missed up. Developer commenter. Blah, 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 blah. Let me introduce my son, Matthew. Hello. You might recognize these costumes from any adaptation of Pride and Prejudice ever made, ever. It's the right sort of thing for the early 19th century, I think. I'm uncertain as to whether they would have had those photographs in the background back then, though. This is my friend, Mr. Smith. He's an expert on African tribal art. Big paydays, huh? Hell yeah. Actually, pause it for a sec. Yes, you have been quite generous the last couple of days, Cop, so thank you. And Drac came in with a gift sub, too. It has been a good stream in that regard. Well, just a scholar, hardly even that, just curious on the subject, and he's offered to assess the figurine I brought back from my travels. Okay. I wasn't aware that you had a family, Sir Roderick. Is your wife home, too? Psst, she's dead. Regrettably, Belinda is no longer with us. Oh, I'm sorry. Quite all right, you couldn't have known. She succumbed to illness shortly after Matthew was born. I finished the painting I showed you, Father. Oh, good. Mrs. Smith, what do you think? I don't know why, but I really like this little exchange. It serves to provide a neat little representation of exactly what the relationship between Matt and his dad is like. It's an intriguing little puzzler, actually. The design is reminiscent of a few Central African tribal gods I'm aware of. But to be honest, I've never seen anything like this before. May I ask how you acquired it? I'm glad you asked. It was 20 years ago, when I was a younger man, on my first travels in the Dark Continent. We were traveling along the west coast when our bearers spotted a ship that had run aground. It was an English clipper named the Sea Angel, and a short exploration revealed that every single crewman had just disappeared. Of course, we immediately sent a letter to the nearest embassy to report the finding. But the point is, it was on the lowest deck of the ship that I found this very figurine you see before you today. What an extraordinary tale. But how do you account for there being an African tribal carving on a British vessel? We were as confused as you are. It wasn't a slave-trading vessel, but there must have been a Negro on the crew. Thank you for not going the N-word. It has been a personal mystery of mine ever since. I was hoping you could help shed a little light on the matter. I mean, that one was kind of bad too. But again, historical shit, 19th century. But there's more to tell. I haven't even begun to recount the strange events that have surrounded the artifact. Would you care for a glass of brandy? Why did you call your son here? You clearly have no interest in him being here. Thank you, that would be most kind. Matthew, fetch the brandy from the kitchen, and some glasses. Oh, that's why. Yes, Father. I'm sure I don't need to point this out, but this room contains a welding mask, a leather apron, and a machete, all of which can be examined. Foreshadowing. Ho! Okay. Defoe Manor's kitchen was small and somewhat sparsely furnished, in contrast to the wealth of the house as a whole. Besides the sideboard, the only furniture was a large wooden table and a narrow drinks cabinet in the corner. Take glasses. Matthew took the brandy bottle and a pair of appropriate glasses. Oh! I was going to examine it after. Hello. You haven't tried to speak to me in a while. Mark made this music track even though I didn't ask for it in case I needed some ambience somewhere, and it seems I did. Thank you, Mark. Bang, bang. No, I wanted to examine the shit. I did another painting today. I showed it to Father, and he said it was promising. I keep trying to tell him about you, but he never listens. You haven't even knocked for me in so long, I was beginning to wonder. Bang, bang. Hey, do you want to see my painting? Bang, bang. I'm not sure how I'd get it through the door. Okay, cool. Look, mask. A smoked mask, the sort of thing used by the metal workers, hung from the west wall. The gardener liked to keep it there as some kind of souvenir from his younger days. Look, apron. It was a tough, well-used brown leather apron. Matthew wondered which member of the staff had been using it. Look, knives. Selection of knives were arranged conveniently above the sideboard. One of them was Sir Roderick's old jungle machete, which he liked to keep there as some sort of joke. Mrs. Beaton didn't like it when people went into her pantry. How could I, Trilby, possibly know what Matthew was carrying that day? Fuck off. Slide painting under door. I'm pushing the painting under your door, okay? Just give it back when you're finished. How dare you, sir! Something hospitality. That's Father. Get out of my house, you worm! I'd better see what's the matter. Talk, boy. I'm just going to see what's going on with Father. Bang, bang. Sierra Ghost really likes the shadowfish emoji. Father? Oh, it's you. Father, what happened? I heard shouting. That old fool told me some rubbish about my figurine. Said the only tribe it could have come from all died in slavery years ago. Actually had the nerve to accuse me of buying from a forger. Bang, bang, bang is the enemy stand user. Oh no! I'm sorry, Father. What are you apologizing for? Where's that damn brandy? I've got it here. Give it to me. I'll go back to my room, Father. Show me a painting. Father? You said you had a painting. Show it to me. I can't, Father. And why not? Because... Come on, why not? Out with it! Because I gave it to the boy behind the door. I see. I think this is one of my favorite scenes in terms of dialogue and characters. With just a brief pause before replying, we are given some insight into the turmoil in Sir Roderick's mind. Ned says, I mean, it could be really old idol shipped around a bit, yeah. Of course, assuming we've all finished 5 Days a Stranger, we know exactly what Sir Roderick is going to do now, and that's what makes it even more unnerving. Indeed, actually, I liked that pause too. Father? Go back to your room, boy. I have to write my diary entry. Yes, Father. An hour of silence passed, and Matthew grew concerned about his father. Strangely, the most disturbing thing had been Sir Roderick's reaction to Matthew mentioning the boy behind the door. In the past, raising this had usually provoked a violent rage or an instant flat denial. Matthew wondered what sort of anxiety was going through his father's mind. Smash! What was that? Father, what are you doing? It was brought to my attention that in 5 days, the date given for the birth-death of the Defoe twins was June 28th, not July 28th as claimed here. Whoopsie-daisy! Consider this a retcon. Ironic, really. I did a lot of research into decor and costume from each time period we visit in the game, but I forgot to research the bloody previous game that I bloody made myself. Cop asks, what's he going to do? Oh, you're gonna find out. Incidentally, the script names for the walking on hard floor sound effects are Hard A and Hard B. And every time I type Hard A, I get Livin' Da Vida Loca stuck in my head. I don't know why, something, I accidentally skipped it. But the door is ajar. Open door. Matthew was confused by his own reluctance. He had longed to see what was beyond the door his entire life, but now, given the chance, he was struck with fear. He peered cautiously through and saw a set of rough stone steps leading down to some kind of basement. I should have done this the moment you came into this world, demon child! May God forgive me for having a part in your creation! The dialogue in the scene is lifted from the dialogue of Roderick and Matthew in the exorcism at the end of 5 Days a Stranger. The intended implication is that the ghosts in 5 Days were not actually the ghosts of those two, but instead John Defoe's memory of them. This will make more sense in the next game, promise. Father, what are you doing? Do you see what you've done? I didn't want him to see this! Sounds like boss music, yeah. Do you see what you've done? No, Father! Father! Hi, tall man. Boo! Ah! My apologies, dear boy, but I couldn't resist. You look so lost in that painting, I don't think you even saw me come in. What? What? I wrote Abed with the intention of characterizing him with an air of forced jollity, the kind of person who wants people to think of him as sort of a favorite uncle figure, but is actually considered rather pathetic. The heck? Spooky, scary painting flashback. Pretty much. That'll all make more sense as we go. His many times great-grandson Barry was written similarly, but less so. Is everything all right, Terry? Yes, everything's fine. It's just, for a moment there, I thought I saw... Never mind. Siobhan and I were talking about you after you ran out of the room. I said you seemed like something was making you terribly anxious. Frankly, I think that's still the case. I'm okay, really I am. Well, if you're sure. I was certain my mind was not playing tricks on me. I had been back there in Defoe Manor, looking through the eyes of Matthew Defoe. I had seen the events that had created John Defoe. I saw his death at the hands of Sir Roderick, that terribly violent end that would bring him back as that awful wraith. But somehow, seeing that event, it was clear to me that there was more to this than the ghost of one retarded youth. There had been something very wrong about that idol, even before it was used to destroy John Defoe. A name stood out in my memory, the Sea Angel, the name of the ship on which Sir Roderick had found the figurine. I now had a lead. Professor, do you know anything about a ship called the Sea Angel? You know, it's funny you should mention that name. There's a really old wooden chisel among the Defoe Manor artifacts, and the words Sea Angel are carved into the handle. Just to clarify, Sir Roderick would probably have found the chisel along with the idol on the Sea Angel and kept it as a souvenir, which is why it was found in Defoe Manor. Sorry, it's not like anyone asked me about that. I just thought, might as well explain everything that's not completely clear. Where is this chisel? It's out on display in the convention hall, next to the dining room. What's this all about, Terry? It's nothing. It's just a little side project my clients want me to get onto. Thank you for your help. No problem. Take care of yourself. Cool. There's something behind the painting. I want it. Someone had stuck a piece of paper into the frame, perhaps for me to find. Take paper. It's a paper from a religious book I wasn't familiar with. I here enclose it with these notes. Victim 5, the child. The fifth man who desired judgment was the child, whose father had the carving of the slave. The prince came to him and was at once rightly pleased with what he found, for the house of the child and his father already knew well the name of the king. And as the prince watched, the child was thrown down by his father and broken with the wood of the prince's soul. But as the child's body, mind, and soul began to drift apart, the prince held them together, and he said, You are the child, and to you I grant power, for I see in you the potential that will grant my father, the king, his greatest wish. You shall not be of the land of technology, nor of the realm of magic, but of both, and thus you shall form the bridge. And across the bridge the king shall come to bring his message to the men of technology. Through you, child, the bridge will come, and thus I name you the Bridge Keeper. And the prince touched the child, and he was the bridge keeper, and his three aspects were granted power, so that his soul would join with the prince's soul in the wood of the tree. And the bridge keeper rose up and threw down his father, and threw down his brother, and truly did they know the name of the king. And into the house of his father went the body and the mind of the bridge keeper. Interesting. Look, I think these are matches. It had definitely been there before, not been there before. Perhaps the professor had left it. Take matches. Only one match left. I took it anyway. Thank you. Door's still locked. Yep. All right. So now we're gonna check the guide quick for a quick thing of what to do. Okay, now we're going to quickly explore the hotel in its light mode. I don't think we have to go this way yet. We've already been in the bar and the bathroom, and we can't go in here, right? Actually, I guess we haven't been in the bar because that was before the flashback. Probably going to transition to hell mode pretty quick here. We'll just pop our pill and head right back into the light. Cool. Do 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 do. Mana. Do 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 do. Oops. Take your pill, Trilby. Might have a hallucination as we open the store. Oh, right. Ugh, rude. He won't be rude. Okay, well that door is locked. What's this? It would not give when pushed. I saw no direct means of opening it. Yeah, what's our inventory? Lockpicks, pills, matchbox, lump of meat. Oh, hey, cool. We're on 7 days A Skeptic. It hurts. By the way, I don't know if anyone actually noticed this. It wasn't exactly subtle, but I also didn't announce it. But in the going live notification on Discord, I have the letters "it" spelling out "it hurts" on the message crossed out. Just look for the extra letters. Oh, hey, it's Abed. Hi, Abed. There's a purse over there. Oh, no, that's a phone. I need to be more specific and talk to one of them about something. To Abed about idol. Where did you say the wooden idol from Defoe Manor could be found? Good grief, Terry. I said we'd discuss it after the fair. As far as I know, it's still in the safe in the hotel office. Talk to Abed about Siobhan. Where is Siobhan, Professor? She said she was just going out for a walk outside. Talk to Abed about ship. Didn't consider the subject relevant. Talk to Abed about Trilby. No, okay. Bye, dude. Can't open that door either. I think it's from the fire escape, which is, like the escape pods from 7 Days, horribly inefficient when it comes to doing their intended purpose. Okay, and then this is my room. Let's try this one first. Yep. This was my room. Even if there was someone inside, they would probably not advertise their presence by responding. This was a completely standard hotel room equipped with bed, sofa, and television. Look, desk. Look, couch. Look, table. No, the look, bedside table. Small bedside cabinet serving the right-hand side of the bed. Phone set on top. Look, phone. Look at phone. Okay, fuck you. Look, bed. Neatly made bed. Look, TV. Cool. I don't think there's any other reason to be in here. And we will check the roof. Oh, hi there. And we'll check out the entrance to the roof, and then I'll check the guide and actually see what I need to do here. It hurts. Wait, what? Why are you at hurtsing in here? This is the safe area. Unless we're hallucinating. Main stairwell. Look at stairs. Look at door. That was weird. There was a heavy steel door marked with the words roof access. Okay, can I... Open door? Door's either stuck or locked. Okay, cool. I guess he just hurt for a moment there. Don't worry about it, guys. Okay, as soon as he stops walking, I'm checking the guide. What are we doing? Okay. Oh. Okay. Not quite sure I know what it's talking about, but we'll see in a moment. Oh, one more floor down. Sorry. They all look the same, Yahtzee! Okay, this thing? It's a circular white heat sensor presumably tied to the hotel's fire safety systems. I don't know how we were supposed to actually, like, know what to call this thing. Look white? Look clock? Yeah, how would we know what the fuck that is? Look wall? Smoke alarm. Okay, that helps. Use match. This is the only hallucination that's scripted rather than randomized, brought on when Trilby is reminded of fire. It's basically what the Defoe Manor trophy room looked like the moment after Trilby and the others begged it. Click. And now the door's open, I guess. Open door. I pushed my way through the door and descended the fire escape. If you take a pill in this room, the transformation happens automatically, unlike in all other cases where you have to move to the next room to trigger it. The reason for this is because in the Dark World backyard, there's no way to exit the screen because the fire escape is bust. Come to think of it, I'm not even sure why I bothered to make a Dark World backyard because it's so complicated to get to. Who's Yahtzee again? Yahtzee is also a game, but Yahtzee is also the developer of these games, also known as Zero Punctuation on YouTube. Okay, look. Hotel's rear yard was more or less bare, but for an old workbench and a fire escape running up the building. The grass was extremely patchy and poorly maintained. Presumably guests normally wouldn't be allowed here. Look. Table. It's probably used for garden maintenance, tool storage, that sort of thing. An old iron crowbar, the only tool being stored at the time. How hot is he? He is, I want to say Australian, but he's been referring to British things this whole game, so maybe he's British. Other than that, I have no idea what he looks like. Oh, take British. Jesus Christ, Shadow. Take crowbar. Cool. Oh, and then let's look at the pliers, because you said the description was different. Examine pliers. Oh, do we not have that anymore? Oh, we don't. Examine crowbar. Old rusty crowbar. Look at window. Wow, how'd you manage to get it so squished, Sierra Ghost? Okay, oh yeah, later we get, like, the opposite of the pill, where we can go to dark mode on a whim, but for now, I think we just have to leave this area. Using channel points? Channel points are weird. Drinks organs from shadowfish? I need to actually do some shit with that at some point. I plan to. But I'm also very ambitious. There's a lot of things I want to do one day for the channel. Okay, we actually want to be in the dark world right now. Makes one of them drink water. Oh no. He's British, born and lived in Australia. He now lives in the US. That's not confusing. Use crowbar. Crowbar was very old. I doubt it possessed the necessary strength to do this. What? That's what the thing told me to do. Use crowbar on boards. There we go. As I had suspected, the stress proved too much for the ancient crowbar, which was bent to uselessness. I discarded it. This game could have probably done with a breaking wood sound effect. I can think of some other places I could have used it. Oh well. This puzzle involved taking a pill to cross over into the light world while passing through the door to the showroom. Is the puzzle most people liked best, it seems. Possibly because it makes good use of the light world, dark world dynamic. It was suggested that I include more of this sort of thing, but where's the fun using the same puzzle twice? Judging by the smell, this room had probably not been ventured into for years. Desiccated corpses dangled from the ceiling, left to rot by some warped interior decorator. Look bag. Sack tied up at one end sat oozing foulness in the corner. Open bag. The mere thought of what that bag could contain made me feel ill. Look graffiti. Prerequisite bloodstains had faded to an ugly brown color over time. It did not make them any less unnerving. It had been used to daub some kind of symbol on the north wall. Look bodies. More wretched victims of the alternate hotel. Their advanced age indicated that the dreadful sights that filled this place were by no means a recent addition. Look table? Okay. We're gonna leave this room. The noises. Cop used channel points to say, sexy singles in your area, Lamau. Lit corpse. You know what? Sure, cop. I don't understand the word lick. Oh, I'm sorry, cop. Looks like we can't lick anything in this game. Yahtzee didn't program it in. Yahtzee writes books? I did know about the books. I haven't read them yet, though. I took the drink with me. Somebody told me it would come in useful. That is now our reverse pill. We drink pop to get agitated. On the north wall were 3-frame monochrome photographs of scenes from around Clanbronwyn Island, obviously exhibit placed by the hotel and not part of the exhibits. An involuntary shudder went through me as recognition dawned. It was the same chair from the living room in Defoe Manor, the room I had opted to sleep in for those 5 days. Look display. Just look. Professor Chahal's antique show was as sparse as its small venue would indicate. A couple of tables were laid out with various trinkets, and a charred rocking chair was the centerpiece. Sierra Ghost is making flat shadowfish. Look bottle. Speedy Cola, highly effective energy drink. I usually steer clear of caffeine as it tends to make me agitated. No, look. Pick. Look at books. A couple of valuable antique books. I recognized one of them from Defoe's Manor Library. The others were unknown to me. Look crest. Look shield. Did I spell shield wrong? No. Recognize one or two Defoe Manor artifacts among the miscellaneous knickknacks. A set of manacles rescued no doubt from the manor's basement stood out the most. Spotted the chills of the professor had mentioned next to the pile of books on the north table. Huff weed? Heh, not yet. Look, manacles, although I should take a hoot. They were blackened but still recognizable as the manacles from John Defoe's basement. If anything would retain some of John Defoe's malevolent power, those manacles would. I refused to touch them. Couldn't even bring myself to go near it. It was pretty certain that John Defoe's influence was gone from the objects in this room, but still my irrational fears frustrated me. Let's take the chisel, shall we? Lore for the 10k channel points, lol. A loud buzzing played in my ears, and my vision began to cloud as I reached over and laid my hand upon the tool. Boy, what would the screen have been like without Photoshop filters, eh? Probably just 2 bands of gray in a white circle. Somewhere in the Atlantic, July 25th, AD 1789. Mabuta had been a great warrior. In battle, his skill was thought unmatched in all of Africa. With many character names, I did a fair bit of research to make sure they were accurate, and Mabuta is basically an amalgam of syllables from African names of the period. I was gone for a second. What happened? We're in Flashback 2. I have no idea what it means or anything. It could be a girl's name for all I know. He had had respect, a great house, a slew of beautiful women, children to make any father proud. But through just one mistake, it had all been torn away. His mistake was in standing by his beloved king when the invaders from the coastal kingdom arrived. Now his great house was ruined, his women raped, his children murdered. And for Mabuta, the worst fate of all, sold to the white men in exchange for weapons, shackled with his fellows in the holds of a slave ship. The history is pretty accurate, too. Most African slaves were enslaved by other Africans, particularly ones from coastal kingdoms who traded with white men. Mabuta was strong. Perhaps he could have lived as a slave. But then came the sickness. A simple fever, no doubt to be gone the next day, but the white men took no chances and threw him overboard. For days Mabuta drifted, waiting for the black cloud of death to descend. Having lost everything, he now sought only the embrace of the deep, a welcome end to a life betrayed. But the end did not come then. Coming around, Captain. Voices, unfamiliar, speaking an unfamiliar language. Mabuta was suddenly terrified that the slavers must have returned, but he was as weak as a newborn and could not move or speak. The sailors' outfits are copied from photos I found of 18th century sailors, God bless the internet, but the captain's outfit is more of an educated guess I took from when I used to watch Hornblower. Looks like we picked him up just in time. Don't know how long he's been drifting out here, but he can't have lasted much longer. Good Lord, look upon it, men, the greatest evidence we have of humanity's inherent evil. Never forget that, men. Sailors such as you or I did this, left this poor wretch to die. Slavers aren't sailors like you or I, Captain. No. I do not know how those devils can have the audacity to still call themselves human. Today there is no pride in being an Englishman. Find our new passenger some quarters. Make him comfortable. Passenger, Captain? Every innocent who sets foot on my ship is a free man. Is there something about this policy you find questionable? Not at all, Captain. This period in the late 18th century was around the time opinion was turning against the slave trade in Britain. In fact, if I recall correctly, this scene takes place after it was already illegalized. But even while it was still in full swing, I'm almost certain attitudes like the captain's probably wouldn't have been completely unheard of. No, these were not the slavers. The ship was different, less crowded with terrified black faces. There was anger in the voices of the white men, but not directed at Mabuta. Still frightened, but somewhat reassured, Mabuta passed out. Days passed, and Mabuta's health was restored. To have been rescued by the ship of these good white men had been a fantastic stroke of good fortune. He decided that it had been the will of the gods that he should survive, and that proper thanks would be in order. An idol, that was the answer. If he could just find some suitable wood and a sharp blade, he would carve the finest idol of his life. The Sea Angel was a small clipper, built for speed, and the fast delivery of cargo. It was late in the evening, and there were few crewmen on deck. Several crewmen tending to the ship scattered around the deck. Despite the language barrier, Mabuta could tell they were friendly and cordial. Look carver? Look worker. Talk to sailor. Communication would have to be non-verbal. Gesture to tools. Alright there, laddie. Oh, I see, you want someone to carve with. Here. The sailor handed Mabuta a sharp, almost brand new workman's chisel. Just bring it back when you're finished with it. So Mabuta was a girl with a thick, manly penis? Hey, I'm down with that. Talks like a man, though. Look, barrel. One or two wooden barrels will scatter around for convenience reach. Take barrel. We've already going to take carve barrel. Mabuta saw no reason to engage in violence. Lol. Climb ladder. Clippers like the Sea Angel were fast ships used for transporting cargo like tea, sugarcane, spices, and cotton across the Atlantic, and indeed this crate, when examined, has a smell of tea about it. Who would have thought this would be as educational as well as fun? Look at crate. A large crate was sitting in the shaft of light with letters stenciled in that Mabuta did not recognize. It was cheaply made with some poor quality nails, and some of the boards looked ready to fall off. Take board. Wood of this crate seemed ideal for Mabuta's intentions. He decided to leave it here until he was ready to carve the idol. Carve idol. With the chisel and the wood of the crate, Mabuta could finally create his offering. After several hours, Mabuta was very pleased with the result. A fine rendition of his kingdom's god of fertility and good fortune. All that remained now was to return the chisel. Can I take the idol? Mabuta decided the idol was fine where it was. There was no need to move it. So, Mabuta made the idol that we know so well. Climb ladder. Oh, fun. It hurts. Hi, Kabadath. Don't you just love those sound effects? I found them by searching for gore, guts, bone-breaking squish, and stuff like that. There was originally a bug here where you could move Mabuta while he was running away and bugger up the game, but that's been fixed now. Just in case, though, get your dirty paws off the keyboard and just watch the scene, moron. Lol. Ooh, right through the face. The vision faded, and I felt myself being hurled forcefully back into the present day. That tall, thin creature, that black-clad ghoul, what was its significance to my predicament? Why did it appear again and again throughout history to spread death and horror? There was no connection to the idol's shape or Mabuta's tribal deities. The tall man was no fertility god. It must have been connected to the wood of that crate somehow. There had been a name on that crate. Mabuta hadn't been able to read it, but I, looking through his eyes, had. O'Malley Shipping. Could the owner have been an ancestor of Siobhan? It was a flimsy possibility, but at that point my only lead. I resolved to discuss this with Siobhan at the earliest opportunity. The pages from the books of victims appearing after flashbacks were the very last thing I added to the game. I wrote out the whole book of Chzo in preparation for this and the next game, and I had to work them in somewhere. Take page. I recognized it as being from the same source as the one under the painting in the lobby. Victim 4, the slave. The fourth man who desired judgment was the slave, who had not been brought Freehorn's message, and who tormented the wood that was the prince's soul with a sharpened blade. The prince came to him, and he struck the slave down, and he knew the name of the king. And the prince said, "Not one of your household shall I leave alive, slave, for thrice now have I brought my warning, and any who still fail to heed shall be named as fool, and judged most unworthy in our sight." Okay. So we literally carved the wood that had been the prince's soul, and the prince took objection to that. Or the tall man, as he is also called. Finally, Oh, it's you, Terry. I thought you might have been the serving staff at last. You may recall earlier said he was going to eat in his room, but obviously he's come down here because his meal was never delivered. This is also the point at which Abed starts becoming gradually more hostile as a lead-up to his condition just prior to his something. He gives a particularly testy response if you ask him about shipping company. Ask about shipping company. It's hard. Oh. Ask Abed about shipping company. Do you know anything about Siobhan's family tree, Abed? Specifically whether or not they ran a shipping company in the late 18th century? What on earth makes you think I would know that? I really don't know. I just thought I'd ask. Why don't you ask Siobhan? Instead of wasting my time and yours with questions, she could easily answer herself. Talk to Abed about staff. You haven't seen any of the hotel staff since our first conversation in your room. No, it's very odd. I can only presume the hotel is closing, but it's still light outside. Talk to Abed about Siobhan. Talk to Abed about Siobhan. Where's Siobhan? She said she was going off to get a drink. I keep telling her it's not right for a girl her age to drink so much. But what do I know about young people today? Nem says, there's an item that drags you into the dark world faster than it's soda. Yeah, we got that from the last room. Ask a bot for a quickie. Talk to Abed about a quickie. Nope. The voting's taking long, and no, it is CR Ghost. I was really hoping we could move on to the next day before the stream started, but unfortunately not. Can we go in the kitchen? Nope. Alright, off to the bar. Mr. Welby, have you seen any of the hotel staff anywhere? I'm afraid not. Perhaps they go to bed early in these parts. Talk to Siobhan about Abed. How is the professor? He looks fine, but I can tell he's getting frustrated. He gets cranky if he goes hungry for too long. To Siobhan about shipping company. Do you know anything about the history of your family? I wouldn't be much of a history student if I didn't, now would I? I'm researching my family tree as part of my diploma. That's ideal. I appreciate this may sound like an odd question, but trust me when I say it's important. Did your family run a shipping company in the late 18th century? That is an odd question. But I do remember reading something about O'Malley shipping. I'd have to check my notes. I left them in my book bag. Could you meet me in my room in about 5 minutes? I'm in 2A, next to Abed. Certainly. I'll see you there, then. It's probably a wee bit too convenient that all the flashback-provoking items just happen to be in the hotel, but you have to keep the story moving somehow. It was important the game be completely contained within this one environment, I guess. That reminds me, have you tried walking down the path away from the hotel yet? Yes. Cop says 80s porno music. Oh, I know, I was thinking the same thing. Alright, cool. We're leaving. Walk out of the hotel? I mean, I could, but we've already done that. And we've already tried, leaving. It's a looping path. Going out the left side brings you to the right side, and going to the right side leaves, has you go to the left side. Come in, please, Terry. You have the papers. Must you always get right down to business? Come and sit down. Let's talk. How are you feeling? We were a little worried about you. I have these moments of illness. What do you want to talk about? Defoe Manor. Oh. Originally in the scene, I was going to have Siobhan come on to Trilby and offer herself to him, having lured him here with the promise of information, which would irk Trilby to the point of reality-swapping agitation. But considering the possible Abed relationship, I decided not to make the game's only female character a complete nympho slut. Be a nice change from the boring, strong women cliche so prevalent in fiction right now, but it's somewhat off message, I guess. I really should have put more girls in my games. I'll put at least 2 in the next game, promise. It kind of interests me. I was really into the media coverage of the incident at the time. This client of yours, the one who wants a figurine, what does he know about it? Well, he has an interest in the occult, and there's some nonsense story going around about it. Something about the idol being a vessel for an evil ghost. I wasn't really paying attention. Really? I don't remember hearing about that in any of the reports. No, you wouldn't have. It wasn't widely... Have you heard the story that Trilby was in the house? I could feel cold sweat drooling down my spine. Every fiber of my being was concentrating on not giving any outward signs of alarm as Siobhan spoke of my secret name with wide-eyed enthusiasm. No one believes it, but Simone Taylor insisted it was true, right up until, well, you know. She says he saved her from the house. I think that's a little far-fetched. That's exactly what Abed says. He says a ghost is one thing, but throwing Trilby into it just makes it seem silly. Truth be told, I don't think Abed believes in Trilby any more than he does ghosts. He's so grounded in reality. A sensible attitude. Have you always been an antique dealer? Siobhan, please, I came here to talk about... Let me put that another way. Have you ever been an antique dealer? I knew it. The outfit, the hat, Terry Railby. You're him. You were in Defoe Manor, and now you've come here to finish off the ghost. Siobhan, I always knew there was something else. In this world, that there was something better, more glamorous, just below the surface. Will you take me with you? Listen to me. There is nothing glamorous about what I do. I live in shadows that threaten to consume me every single day. Ugh, I hate myself for that line. It's so bloody emo. Lol. Oh, shit, I skipped a line. What are you talking about? There is something extremely dangerous in the hotel. I don't know what it is, but... 287. Oh god, no! Trip. Okay, so why is the tall man trying to kill Trilby when he's the guide prophesized to assist in building the bridge that will allow Chzo into our world? Maybe this indicates a hidden aspect of the story. Maybe there's more to the tall man than a mindless puppet of Chzo. Maybe he has an agenda of his own. Maybe I'll shut up now. I think we take the pill here? Oh, kick him. Hi! Oh, not kill, kick. Knocked her right the fuck out. Siobhan was out cold but uninjured. She would probably be safe on her bed while I continued my investigation. Look at Siobhan. Consider myself lucky that it was not as skilled in unarmed combat as I thought. Open bag. Under the circumstances, Siobhan probably wouldn't mind. This is probably the jerkiest thing Trilby's ever done. Hey Trilby, you do not follow up a kick to someone's face by rifling through their luggage, jerk. There were a few textbooks, a half-empty water bottle, and a large folder marked O'Malley family history. This, I decided, was my quarry. I flipped through the pages until I reached the information relevant to the 18th century and read my discoveries out loud. The Liverpool-based O'Malley Shipping Company ran for 3 centuries of the family in the mid to late 18th century until the loss of one of their clippers drove the company to bankruptcy. The owner at the time, Jacob O'Malley, placed the blame somewhat irrationally on a shipping crate which family legend alleged to be haunted and that had been on the ship at the time. There are numerous tales of bizarre events surrounding the crate, and the story of the crate's origin is no less mysterious. Ooh, haunted crate! It seems that a strange young man came to a carpenter's at the Liverpool dockyards with a very expensive-looking harpsichord, which he insisted be smashed up and the wood used for whatever purpose the carpenter desired. He refused to leave until the instrument had been utterly broken into its component pieces in front of his eyes and the wood sent to be made into crates for O'Malley shipping. When pressed for his name, the man identified himself as one Jack Freehorn. Freehorn's message, you'll remember, is the thing that was mentioned. Freehorn is a name I completely made up. I only picked Jack because it seemed like one of the few names that wouldn't seem out of place in any time period. The Rooms of Jack Freehorn, July 28th, 1778. So a trifle have you been wasting your father's money on now, Jack? What does it look like? It looks like a virginal. A harpsichord, actually, in the Flemish style. Wilbur's comment there is an in-joke because my source image for the harpsichord was actually a picture of a virginal. But for my researches, there seems to be such a variance in design from one harpsichord to the next that it hardly seems to matter. Quite old, quite expensive. Oh, shit. I fear you be speaking too soon, my friend. Oh, God, I should have known, you and your silly obsession. So what devilry inhabits this magnificent instrument? This instrument as a whole is for the most part untainted by the ethereal realm, but its keys are what spark my interest. And usually they have been carved from centuries-old English oak. And that's the interesting part. I will not be disheartened by that sharp tongue of yours. The wood has gone through many incarnations before being incorporated into this device. Items of furniture, building material, in fact, just over 200 years ago, it was part of a wall. A wall of a certain inn on a well-traveled road in Wales. The Unicorn? I'm so pleased you remember. I can hardly forget it, the way you have been obsessing quite heartily over it of late. Your correspondents persist in filling your heads with rubbish about ghosts and demons. I count myself very lucky to have tracked down even a small piece of that hostelry. I know I've already told you some of the wonderful stories attached to it. And this instrument has had its fair share of mysterious happenings. The usual batch of strange noises, sudden madness, and inexplicable deaths. See sense, my friend. This curiosity of yours for all things ungodly has no doubt already befouled your mortal soul. You are a fine fellow, Wilbur, but you have not a drop of romance in your body. This is, of course, set during the romantic Scarlet Pimpernel foppish, powdered wig, large breast, Blackladder III period of history. Ned says you'd think people would stop recycling this cursed-ass wood. Pretty much. This was a time when life became somewhat more leisurely than the hardcore puritanical times of previous ages and the straight-laced, repressed Victorian period that followed. I figure in this period a man would have more freedom to research the occult without the hyper-religious or societal persecution. Sierra Ghost says people are dumb in these games, pretty much. Now stop browbeating for my inquiring mind and let us take dinner. I hope dinner was night. Good. That night, Jack was stirred from his bed by the sound of music emanating from his new instrument. His first thought was anger, mostly because the harpsichord was an antique, never intended to be played. But then he listened to the haunting, melancholy tune, and felt his stomach roll inexplicably with fear. Who's down there? Wilbur, is that you? Mark made me 2 harpsichord songs, one you hear now with just harpsichord, and another longer one with a couple of other instruments. Regrettably, I never found a use for the longer version. I thought of using it for the reading of the Book of the Prince at the end, but the creepy ambient music worked better. Oh well, you can still hear it in the soundtrack included with this edition. I will say, too, I actually really like that the extended version as well. I've kept it on my phone. The tall man was playing a haunting melody on the harpsichord. Except for his hands, his body was completely still. The absurdly expensive harpsichord was reportedly partially constructed from the wood of the notorious Unicorn Inn. Had Jack inadvertently welcomed into his house the evil of that place? Y'all having another good musical tune, hell yeah. Ned says, y'all having stomach pains, me having liver discomfort. Oof. Jack could not take a step further because he realized with a lurch that he recognized the dark figure that sat at the keys. He had read of this strange entity that reoccurred frequently in stories surrounding the Unicorn Inn and the objects that were later constructed from its wood. And he knew with absolute certainty that the tall man would destroy him were he not destroyed first. Jack was not about to attempt to fight that creature unharmed. Well, we're getting a weapon then. A desk. Ugh, okay, what weapon are we using to kill this thing? Gun? Is there a gun? Oh. Okay, well, we've got a gun now. You won't take me, demon! Yeah, I know. Why does the tall man show up to torment Jack when Jack himself never damaged the cursed wood? Fact is, the tall man can only enter our world to take revenge on July 28th, and even then he can't venture far from the wood. He wasn't in time to take out his frustrations on the piano maker, so he'll have to make do with Jack. Wilbur? No. Oh God, no! But I could have sworn. You. I know you. You have. Oh God. Please forgive me, Your Majesty, for my transgressions. I am a worthless, craven fool, not worth a second of your precious time. I beg you, spare me. I will redeem myself for my offense. I will be yours forever, my body, mind, and soul. The tall man liked that. Thank you, my lord. Thank you. In case it wasn't obvious from the nightshirts and the double bed, Jack Freehorn and Wilbur were homosexual lovers. This is another instance of sexuality. By forcing him to kill Wilbur, the tall man subjects Jack to a blessed agony, for not all agonies are physical, and it is such content is as such content to leave without further torture. I'll discuss blessed agonies later on in a certain scene. Identifying himself as one Jack Freehorn. Ah, shit. A depraved group of paganist worshippers who were spoken of with much derision by conventional society. With my latest flashback, my knowledge of the history of the cursed wood gained another step. Before the crate, it had been a harpsichord, and sometime before the harpsichord, it had been part of some kind of hostelry in Wales. An inn called the Unicorn Inn. Why did that ring a bell somewhere in my recent memory? I had definitely seen something in the Clanbronwyn Hotel that was linked to the place, but where? Some people explain that they kept forgetting what they were supposed to be doing and say a notebook keeping track of objectives would have been nice. Yeah, I guess it would have been nice. Oh well, maybe for the next game. Siobhan? And she's gone. Okay. Read note. Victim 3, Freehorn. The third man who desired judgment was Freehorn, who had bought from those who made luxuries with the wood that was the prince's soul. The prince came and struck down the lover of Freehorn, and Freehorn knew the name of the king. And Freehorn said, I know you now, O prince who was the arrogant man, and I anticipate your wish, and I will devote myself to spreading the teachings you have brought me in the love of our king. And the prince was satisfied, and Freehorn called all those who would listen, and they formed an order of blessed agonies that would work to redeem the follies of the men of technology. Q. Oop, no, not WASD controls. Just make sure. Wasn't sure how to do nothing? Yeah, that's fair. Oh, wait, let me do something really quick. Just save. That didn't make sense to me. Kill yourself. Okay. Kill Trilby? No. Just wanted to see if that would work. Out of just random curiosity. Oh, cool. We actually needed to be in hell mode anyways. What happens if you type and die? I did. It didn't seem to do anything. From somewhere to the west, I heard the familiar sound of a door being unlocked. Here, I'll show you again. He basically just gives you a random error message. Lankman? Lankman, wait! For 5 days and 7 days, I made a point of animating all the doors opening every time a character passed through them. In this game, I didn't bother and no one seemed to care. Haha, thanks guys, you really helped cut my workload. What had once been a kitchen was now some kind of torture room. I found myself wondering whether it was used for extracting information or merely to entertain the alternate hotel's hellish proprietor. Look, oven. Sole remnant of the kitchen's former usage was stained from the inside with desperate handprints. Look, wall. There was an interesting imprint of blood on the north wall, suggesting that some flayed victim had been hurled against it. Look, corpse. A horribly tormented soul was still lying on the central counter, limbs arranged oddly from spasms of agony. Don't worry, Nem, I know exactly what's coming. And I did just save, but I'll save again. Hi, Freya. How's my baby girl? Just make sure... We open this door. Emergency door refused to budge. It appeared to be jammed. Well, we'll go through this door then. AGS only allows one ambient sound at a time, so I couldn't have both the whispering and the insect chittering. Damn you, Chris Jones! Why must you make me choose? Fun fact, those bugs will eat us alive. And I am going to demonstrate this. Because it's funny to me. This concludes the text of the notes found at the Clanbronwyn Hotel on August 4th by an SDP investigation team. At time of writing, Trilby remains missing in action. Maggots? Beetles, I think. I knew what you wanted. At least 2 individuals had met with sticky ends down here. One of them had been almost completely picked clean by the beetles. The other I noticed was heavily decayed except for its hand, which was fresh and pink. I wondered if this had something to do with the puddle of water it was lying in. Look, beetles. The insects were too busy fighting each other for a mouthful of the rancid flesh to notice me. They can't? Nope. Drink water, because why not? It was almost as if the water was drawing me to it. Not like a scrabbling thing in my mind like the chisel of the painting, but more like a beckoning siren. I couldn't help myself. I crouched down and dipped my hand in. It felt uncommonly refreshing, and brought an amount up to my lips, my unhygienic surroundings forgotten. As a pleasant feeling of simultaneous coolness and warmth spread from my stomach, I realized that the water had some sort of rejuvenating effect. I had no explanation for this, but at the time I didn't care. I was beginning to feel in the back of my mind the familiar tickling sensation that indicated a reality shift, so I swiftly scooped a few drops of the liquid into my pill bottle, shaking it through the remaining pills. Oh yeah, I think if we tried to take a pill there, it wouldn't have been effective. Like, it just flat out wouldn't have worked. Take bottle. Oh, fine. Okay. Look. Hotel cellar was lit up by a single spotlight and seemed almost completely bare, but for his dusty cardboard crates and a wine rack. Look, wine rack. Wine rack was severely understocked. The hotelier had no doubt been meaning to refill it. One of the bottles remained a dusty green one. Take bottle. So no reason to take it? Fuck you. Look, boxes. Okay, we're leaving. Hello? Oh. Got it. Look. Total kitchen was deserted and completely sterile. Whatever had happened to the staff had happened before they'd started preparing dinner. Open door. Emergency door is still jammed. Open fridge. No interest in the hotel's food. Wow, rude. Open door. Open door. Oh, Terry, it's you. Have you seen Siobhan? I was about to ask you that. What did you do to the girl? I hope you don't intend to seduce her away from my service. Abed, I need you to understand. You, and I, and Siobhan are all in critical danger. There is something evil in this hotel, and it's closing in fast. Mr. Railby, I have been over this hotel several times. Apart from us, there is absolutely nothing here. Please keep your fairy stories in the playroom where they belong. Abed continues to lose his patience, and his temper only gets worse from here. After all, presumably all through the next flashback, Trilby stands motionless, staring into thin air, while Abed tries to talk to him, which I'm sure many people would find rude. Fair. Talk to Abed about unicorn. Do you know anything about an inn called the Unicorn? Ah, you noticed my shingle. I picked it up as a curiosity at an antique fair a couple of years ago. It dates all the way back to the Elizabethan period, from what I understand. But I just can't find a buyer for the damn thing. Don't suppose you have any clients who might go for it? Possibly. Do I have your permission to examine it? Of course. I may have to touch it to assess the texture. By all means do so, as long as you're not going to test its strength over your knee or anything. Shadow, your voice sounded familiar? I would hope so. You've been listening to it for the last, 7 hours. Damn. Examine shingle. An ancient shingle from an establishment called the Unicorn was leaning against one of the tables. Could this have been the same unicorn mentioned by Jack Freehorn? The buzzing in my ears that manifested as I inspected the shingle indicated so. Touch shingle. As I pressed my fingertips to it, however, the design seemed to extrude from its backing like a hologram, and seemed to draw closer until my vision was filled with wood grain and mediocre brushstrokes. I could vaguely detect the professor speaking to me on the very edge of hearing, but by the time I realized it, I was already gone. There's no significance behind the name the Unicorn, except that it keeps making me think of Tintin books. Somewhere in Wales, July 28th, AD 1581. Owen Somerset, a traveling merchant, was on his way back to his wife and family in London, having concluded some business dealings in Ceredigion. Caught suddenly by the summer storm, he spied an inn by the side of the road and marveled at his good fortune. Faith, 'tis an evil storm that blights the sky tonight. I think once I'd gotten the use of faith as an exclamation out of the way, I pretty much gave up on making sure the dialogue in the scene remained sufficiently old world. Aye. I must have the Almighty on my side to find myself so close to an inn as it broke out. Aye, perhaps. The innkeeper seemed quite taciturn. Taciturn? I always hate that word. But Owen was in a good mood and was determined for it not to leave him. It was probably too late to continue riding, even if the storm cleared. Owen decided to inquire after a room for the night. Okay then, Owen Somerset. Any relation to Dr. Jonathan Somerset from 7 Days a Skeptic? The two problems with this is that, firstly, it'd be quite unusual for a family line to last over 900 years, or however long it is till 2499, and secondly, I presume you've already played 7 Days, otherwise don't read the next line. Secondly, this Jonathan Somerset from 7DAS wasn't actually Jonathan Somerset, but that doesn't necessarily mean his actual last name wasn't Somerset as well, right? It's kind of a hint, by the way. Nice. Let me just examine what we do here. Okay. Talk to innkeeper about room. Talk to man about room. Good evening, sir. Would it be possible to secure a bed for the night? Be a wiser man than I. Go from this place and never return. What? There is a curse upon this inn. I will not have an innocent doomed to the same fate as I. Why don't you just close the inn for the night and, leave if you know it happens this very night? I have plenty of gold to pay for my board. The devil cannot be bought off, my friend. What devil? What is the nature of this curse? The inn was built by my father 20 years ago. From the wood of a fallen oak he stumbled upon an island north of here. He noticed human bones scattered around, but did not heed them. This inn has been a curse on our bloodline ever since. Madness and death claim those who stay here. This time last year it claimed my father. Soon I am certain it shall claim me. To man about room. Look, it's a bad storm, man. So why do you remain? I do not believe in fleeing from the mistakes of the past. If the Almighty wills that my family must pay for our errors, then this I accept. But I would not see another suffer for our sins. Leave now before the shadows take you. Talk to man about room. Sir, I have little patience for fables, and even less for riding after sundown in the middle of a downpour. Lend me a room, and I shall take the responsibility for my own well-being. You will insist? Not only will I insist, but I will pay whatever price you ask. Go then, take the upstairs room, and if you remain by the morn, you shall pay nothing at all. That's a bad sign. You people in the game are dumbasses, pretty much. Hi again, cop. Ooh, no. The unicorn was a small but secure, constructed from a combination of stone and English oak. The only furniture in the reception room was a bar and a bench for sitting. It's completely empty. Sleep. Owen lay himself down, intending only to test the bed's softness, but in his exhaustion he quickly succumbed to sleep. Welcome back from bath time, coppers. In the early hours of the morning, something jolted Owen from his slumber. A piercing sound? No. A piercing smell. I'll be the first to admit that I'm not very good at depicting fire. They end up looking more like wobbling yellow jellies. Seems like I'm not very good at smoke, either. Wait, take sheet. Owen took the sheet with him, presumably for comfort. Yeah, for comfort, totes. Look. The unicorn, blah blah blah. Someone had lit a fire by the door, filling the inn with a burning smell. Look at fire. A blaze had been set before the front door by whom? The innkeeper? Cover fire with sheet. There we go. What in God's name? Oh God. What kind of... Who could have... Bye, Freehorn. The original idea was that Owen Somerset would survive his encounter with the tall man in order to create some weird connection to the effect that Somersets always survive in reference to 7 days. But in practice, I couldn't really think of a suitably dramatic way to end the scene except by killing him off. This also meant I had to change the appropriate passage from the Book of Victims. That jump scared me? Good. Once again, I returned, disoriented from my vision. I was closing in on the source of the madness. The innkeeper had said the wind came from a tree on an island. Could it have been Clanbronwyn Island? Given what I was seeing, it seemed like a valid, if worrying, possibility. Besides that, it seemed, I had no other leads. So what would I do? I was determined not to let the trail end there if there was just a single clue. Read note. Trilby, I know you were following a trail. Go to the roof if you wish to proceed. Lankman. The idea that Lankman was to have the player consider them their only ally in the game who was of actually any use. Practice, though, it seemed a lot of people figured out he was going to be a bad guy from his first scene. Shh. Probably too much of a double bluff to use there. Cop sister, was the innkeeper set on fire? Yeah, he was killed and then set on fire. Victim 2, the innkeeper. The second man who desired judgment was the innkeeper, who had bought the wood of the tree and built from it his house. The prince came to him and his guest, and he struck the innkeeper down, and the innkeeper knew the name of the king. And the prince turned to the innkeeper's guest, and he said, "You I shall not let live. For once before have I made this warning, and still my soul aches with what is done to the wood that is my soul, and I will spare no man who injures me in this way." And the innkeeper's guest knew the name of the king. Okay, so I think we go to the roof now, like just straight up. We're coming near the end of the game, by the way. Okay, we got some puzzle shenanigans here. Okay. Something about a head? May I borrow that head, Professor? Oh, I see. You took one companion of mine away, and now you want another. I'll bet it's just a head. What could you possibly need it for? I think it's a mannequin head? You don't understand. No one understands me. Go get me a drink, then we'll talk. Okay, fine. He appeared to be staring fixedly at a disembodied porcelain head in front of him. We need it for the puzzle to get onto the roof. First, we're going to go over here. I took the wine. Perhaps this would appease the drunken professor upstairs. There was a bug here that prevented the player from interacting with the wine in any way with it, and the coal bottle were in the inventory. Let's hope we've been fixed now. Not like it matters. The wine's only purpose is to trigger an event after you pick it up. Otherwise, it's a herring with a crimson hue. But you already knew that, right? Oh no, what got triggered? Professor, are you okay? Okay, we'll just check the guide. Northeast. Professor? Where's he gone now? I think that's what the wine bottle was meant to trigger. What's this? Take book. Look at book. Look at counter. Adorned with papers and materials. A porcelain leg lay upon the table. Oh, that's a leg. Thanks, boss. Okay, now it says to go back upstairs, open the east door, and continue east. Probably to the roof. Oh, sorry, I was looking at a different window. Cop asked, Shadow, would you set me on fire to kill a guy who's staying in my inn? No. I would not kill you. I would not do anything that the tall man has done, no. Same answer, cop. Door was either stuck or locked. Oh, right. Okay, so that's not the door I have to go through. Get the bottle of wine, then go back upstairs, open the east door, and continue east. What are you talking about? Bottle of wine, go back upstairs, which we did. northeast, and continue east. Eat a pill and open the door. Open the door again and drink the cola, then open the door once more. Confucia. Alright, let's go back then. We gotta descend the stairs once more. I bet you're tired of these stairs by now, eh, guys? Okay. So we're doing some dark world, light world shenanigan hopping. So we've gone back upstairs, gone east. Okay, go back upstairs, open the east door, and continue east. Okay, well that would be to go through here. My cat is very angsty. Eat a pill and open the door. Okay. Freya, what's wrong? Open the door again and drink the cola, then... What? Oh god, no, he shifted. Of course, he shifted because negative feelings cause a shift to Dark World, and he was all drunken and embittered. Siobhan shifted for the same reason, because she woke up and remembered that Trilby had kicked her in the face. Still with me on this? Good. Alright, cool. Look at Abed. Abed's drunken misery had caused him to shift into the Dark Hotel. The jolly man of whom I had grown fond lay decapitated on the floor. With Siobhan's disappearance, I was now truly alone. Professor had known nothing of the horror. He was blameless and ignorant of any matter involving Defoe Manor or a cursed idol, but it seems my dark captor cared little for these facts. Why haven't you killed me too, you skinny bastard? You can do it so easily, so quickly. Why don't you face me? In a display of a warped sense of humor, the porcelain head was sitting where Abed's old one had been. Take head. Pulled the head out of the stump, trying not to think about the wet, cracking noise this caused. Okay. Get the head, eat a pill, open the door again. Take pill. And let's get out of here. Bye, Abed. Open door. Okay. And then we walk east and take the leg. Go to the door behind the counter and use your lockpick. Oh yeah, we have those. Open the door to the office, get another leg, lobby, east door, head outside, arm, open the door to the back inside, third floor. Cool. So now we're body part collecting. I had encountered far stronger locks in my time. I picked it open within 10 minutes. CRG Ghost, why did you answer how does one become a werewolf like that? Just many possibilities? I honestly don't even remember what I told you. Oh, the thing about bodily fluids. Oh, hey, it's the welder. And I can't really move. Say hi to John. Hi. Hug welder. Damn. That's disappointing. Look. The air in the hotel office was swimming with dust. The proprietors clearly felt that record-keeping was far more of a formality than a necessity. In the corner of the room was a diminutive but sturdy steel safe. Look at desk. There was virtually nothing on the desk, and it lacked a chair. Obviously, very little work was actually done here. Do you think the welder is a nice guy? He's misunderstood. Oop. Open desk. Only drawer was empty. Look at shelf. Single shelf was the home of a large number of dust-covered binders and papers. There was also a porcelain leg laying on the right-hand side. Take leg. Do you think the welder was hot? No, I do not. Take leg. Took the leg. Open safe. I hadn't had time to crack safes for some time, or cause this crack safes for some time, but my hands instantly went into automatic, the thieving mindset returning like an old friend. When the job was done and the safe opened, my nostalgia faded into puzzlement when I found it empty. Just for once, I'd like to crack a safe that actually contains something. Is that so much to ask? That's a reference back to 5 Days, by the way, because in the opening scene of that game, Trilby opened a safe and found that it, too, was quite bare. Alright, we can leave now. So we've got both legs. We've got the head. The arm, we go back inside. And we are going to our room now, which is on the 3rd floor. Which works, because then we got to go to the roof. Are we building Tall Man? Sorta, kinda? Where are the sexy skellies that were chained up? Still chained up. We're just not in those rooms. Cool. Now we've got it all. Okay. We want to be in pill mode. Okay. Or in dark mode world. We are literally almost at the end of the game. Drink cola. Open door. Place head. Oh, he just does it all. Okay, cool. The body was intact. For reasons I couldn't explain, I sensed that something had changed back in the real world. What kind of ridiculous locking mechanism is this? This whole puzzle is a nod to the puzzles in most survival horror games, where a bunch of ridiculous items have to be brought together somewhere, which for some reason causes a door to unlock. Probably a bit out of place in a straight adventure, but who cares? It amuses me. Lol. Take pill. And now we can go to the roof. Get the paper. Okay. No, it hurts. Do you think I could be sexy if I was chained up? No, it hurts for one. Sexy mannequin when. Lol. Okay, what am I doing? Look. The view of the island was spectacular, but most of the roof seemed to be sectioned off by a metal fence. Just about the only feature within reach was a piece of paper held down by a stone. Take stone. Jump. Ha! Clan Bronwyn Island, July 28th, AD 1501. It's impossible to find pictures of Elizabethan peasant outfits because of the Elizabethan costume pictures online are all of the really fancy togs noblemen wore. This is another bit of an educated guess when it comes to the past. Add a whole lot of baggy sleeves, waistcoats, and knee-high boots, and you can't go wrong. A sturdy tree, this! It took us from dawn to dusk, but we finally have it down. I'm tired, Father. 'Twas indeed clever of us to investigate this island, eh, boy? I have never seen such a gigantic oak, nor do I expect to again. But its wood shall keep us in the business of carpentry for years to come. Father, look at these stones. Do you think there was once a house here? It matters not. Why must you always look everywhere but at what matters? You could probably draw comparisons between the woodcutter-son relationship and that of Roderick and Matthew Defoe. Mainly because the dad is really overbearing and the son keeps saying father all the time. This is your... Father? Is something troubling you, Father? Oh, right. Throw stone. We suicide to attack the tall man and behead. Grab stone. Take stone? There we go. Throw stone. I originally had 2 room backgrounds prepared for the sequence to extend the flashback a bit longer, but I dropped one because far too many of these flashbacks revolve around the theme of start in room X, go into room Y, go back to room X, and oh, the horror! Where am I? I must have shifted into the dark world during the vision. Trilby! Siobhan? Oh, thank God, I thought I was all alone. What happened to you? I don't know. After you knocked me out of my room, I woke up and everything was like this. The hotel's ruined, there's blood everywhere. I saw this horrible man. Tall, thin, long black coat. You know him? Enough to know you're lucky to be alive. He didn't notice me, so I ran up here to hide. How did you get past the doll? What doll? The doll seems to have the air of unreality about it because it seems Siobhan didn't encounter it, and it doesn't seem to stop you from coming through the door from this side. The fact that Trilby sees it may have something to do with the fact that he was unable to prevent Simone Taylor's murder, and it seems the headless dude from the stairwell, who writes all the messages on the walls, sees it too. And how does Abed see the porcelain head? Decide whatever you want. Trilby, what the hell is going on? I told you what would happen if you followed me into the shadows. This isn't your problem. Take these. That's supposed to indicate that he's giving her something in lieu of a reaching out sprite. In retrospect, it looks more like they're about to make out. Lol. What are these? Tranquilizer pills. Take one. When you calm down, the hotel will go back to normal. Why didn't you give her one instead of the whole fucking bottle? Won't you need them? I don't need to run away anymore. Trilby, wait! Where are you going? I know enough now. I know where the wood came from. Perhaps I can find a way to end this. I actually put object interactions for the Dark World rooftop, even though you never get a chance to use them. Originally, Siobhan was supposed to leave at the end of the scene, allowing you the chance to do stuff in this room, but in the end, the scene flowed better if Trilby left. So I was right. The cursed wood came from Clanbronwyn Island, but what good does that knowledge do me? Wait a second. I never got around to reading the letter I took from under that rock. Trilby. I'm very close to ending this. Meet me in the hotel basement. I must show you my discovery, Lankman. The other pages were another of those religious papers. The Book of Victims, Victim 1, the Woodcutter. The first of those against whom the prince sought vengeance was the woodcutter, he who held the axe that first felled the tree. The prince came to him and his son, and he struck the woodcutter down, and the woodcutter knew the name of the king. And the prince turned to the woodcutter's son, and he said, You I shall let live, for you are young and are of the innocent, and that you may go among your people and tell them of what I will wrought. And the woodcutter's son fled and told all of what he had seen. But the men of technology are arrogant, and his words were unheeded. And of course, combining pages from the Book of Victims with the letters is the giveaway that Lankman works for the Order of Blessed Agonies. Spoiler! Anyways, yeah, we now can't transition back to light mode. Go east. North, east, south, west, and open the west door. Okay. Sorry, I know that sound is annoying. We're leaving. And then it's time for the final scene. Okay, ground floor. Northeast. Then walk west twice. no hole here. Oh! The basement, though. Why would you tell me to go east? That makes no sense. Oh, walk east through the stairwell doors, I bet. There, west twice. And then the north door. Well, which one's the north door? This one? Nope. Hey, it even says no on the wall. Is there a hole here? Nope. Oh, here we go. Enter hole. The point of the constant shifting is to show that the date of July 28th, combined with being in this hotel, makes reality so fragile that even a stray thought can cause a shift. And here, right up close to the source of it all, reality is at its most unstable. Originally, I was going to have the whispering noise coming and going with Dark World, but the constant stopping and starting would not have been nice on the ears. Touch the stump after the cutscene. Try to stand up. Okay, this is the last area. Prince uses his tools well, so where's the fighting? Not much fighting. I was in some kind of cavern dug out of the rock beneath the hotel. It seemed to be in a constant state of flux, flitting back and forth between the real world and its dark twin. I was certain that the gigantic stump in the middle of the floor had something to do with this. Clanbronwyn Peninsula, July 28, 55 BC. Cabadath, a Celtic druid, awaits the return of his friend and colleague Ghislaine, who brings news of the invasion of Anglesey by the Roman Suetonius Paulinus. Once again, I created these names by messing around with the names of actual figures from this period. Cabadath is a play on Cathbad, who is the chief druid in the court of Concobar Mac Nessa, according to Irish mythology. Having fallen out of favor with his fellows for certain radical beliefs and activities, Cabadath lives in solitude in this remote forest clearing and prefers not to travel himself. Cabadath! Galdin, you bring news. The foreigners have landed. They could not be deterred by our sorcery. All is lost. Galdin is a corruption of Dalgan, who was also a druid to some kingly court somewhere whose name I forget. The background is all historically accurate. Suetonius Paulinus did invade Anglesey around this time, and according to sources, the druids did try to scare off the invaders with their magic, but it didn't work. Oh, certain are you? They are making their way across the land, eliminating resistance. Even you out here will be brought down within days. I'm sorry, Cabadath. And the great druids of Anglesey bow so easily to this brash foreign power. Do not hang your head yet, my friend. Perhaps the activities for which I was ostracized could yet spell an answer. What are you talking about? You know of my dealings with the ethereal realm. I know what you claim. That there exists some otherworldly territory populated by demons and creatures of magic. And that you, Cabadath, can somehow commune with these creatures. It's kind of not in keeping with what we know of druids for them to speak of demons, but then Cabadath is a renegade. Come inside, and I shall explain. You may recognize a symbol on the wall from a number of other places throughout the game. This is the symbol of Chzo, and it represents the three aspects of pain: body, mind, and soul. I'll leave you to figure out for yourself which part of the symbol represents what. Cabadath, what is this madness? In my dealings with the ethereal realm, I have learned of many powerful demons and elementals. But there is one spoken of only reluctantly, a beast possessing of awesome power. You plan to summon a demon? The most terrible of them all, who strikes fear into even the most unflappable creatures I have spoken with. Cabadath's dialogue here, combined with the stairwell notes, are the main hints to the effect that not all of the ethereal realm is evil, just the part that Clan Bronwyn Island occupies in our realm. Judging by the adventures of the Stairwell Corpse, it's likely that the alternative Clan Bronwyn Island occupies a channel that runs between Chzo's desolate kingdom and an unspoilt civilized country. A pain elemental, indeed the only pain elemental, ruler of a desolate wasteland where none venture, an invulnerable, hugely potent beast that feeds on the agony of others. And today is his day. The day when the boundaries between the realms weaken and he glimpses our world. To bring him through at that point should be simple. Even if you could conjure such a thing, how would you have it defend our land? I have much knowledge in the ways of magic. With the correct bindings, any demon can be forced to my will. I completed the preparations while I waited for your return. All that remains is the summoning. Cabadath, it pains me to see you build your hopes on such nonsense. Be silent and watch. You shall see your nonsense soon enough. In this hall of death, and by the light of Belenius's gift, I summon you. I bring you gifts to mark your path. I feed you with pain. I call you with madness. I summon you with the greatest loss. Shrewd buggers will realize that this ritual sounds very similar to the summoning ritual Trilby performs at the end of 5 days, except this one mentions Belenus, the Celtic god of fire, instead of Prometheus. It also incorporates the Blessed Agonies, and I'll explain those more fully in the next scene. And I bind you by your true name, Chzo! By the gods, I have reached out to you through the void, Chzo. I command you by your true name! Show yourself! Cabadath, please stop this! Show yourself! By Tutaeus, it's huge! If you've ever read an Asterisk books, then you'll recognize By Tutatis as an exclamation used by Celtic and Gaulish characters. There seem to be many different ways in which this particular god's name was spelled, and Tutates is another way. He was the god of a male tribal unity, if Wikipedia is to be believed. It is larger than I anticipated, but Chzo must obey the rules of magic. It is bound, I can command it! Yeah, I don't think so, buddy. No! It is far more powerful than I thought! Chzo is a powerful creature of magic and relies on its magic so much that its actual physical body is largely vestigial. But don't worry, girls. I'm sure you'll get to see more of this handsome lad in the next game. Galden, help me! Forgive me, Cabadath. No! Galden, I beg you! Don't let it take me alive! Too late. Chzo, of course, has no use for meat. It feeds on pain. It does not kill its prisoners. Cabadath's agony was a particularly rare morsel, and Chzo ensured it would last. His soul was placed inside an oak sapling on the site of his old home to grant his body immortality. For 5 centuries as the tree grew, he knew torment beyond even his most depraved imaginings. By then his body was warped, and his mind long fallen into soulless dementia. He was Chzo's, utterly and completely his slave. Trilby, Siobhan, you were supposed to leave. I couldn't, Abed, the professor, he's dead. I know. He was killed by the shadows. Just like they will kill you if you don't get away from here. What is this place? This cave is the center of the reality shift. This stump is what's causing it all. How? It is the vessel for the soul of the tall man. The acolyte of Chzo. Lankman. Nice to see a friendly face. Amazing, isn't it? Of all the things Sir Roger could have used to murder his son, he chose that idol, placing the soul of John Defoe into the wood alongside Cabadath's. Infusing the poor retard with Chzo's magic, allowing him to come back infinitely more powerful than before. Yes, this is something I've been wanting to get across for a while. The real reason why John Defoe came back so powerful when in life he was such a weak, impotent thing. Ghosts are usually brought back by the ghost's sheer force of will and mind power. And John Defoe can't even tell his father from a master thief. Certainly pretty lucky. Lucky. Chzo had to wait 2,000 years for that opportunity. The opportunity to blend magic and science into a single entity. The opportunity to create the bridge. What are you talking about? The bridge between the realms, over which Chzo will cross into our universe and purify mankind. Our order has waited 200 years for the prophecy to be fulfilled. You're not with the Ministry of Occultism. Who are you? 200 years ago, the prophet Jack Freehorn founded the Order of Blessed Agonies. Since then, we have grown and watched and waited. It was only in recent years that the events foretold in the Book of Chzo began to occur. It mentioned John Defoe, and it mentioned you. Me? You were the one prophesied to guide the Bridge Keeper to his destiny. But you didn't finish the job. All three aspects of John Defoe had to be destroyed to create the bridge, body, mind, and soul. You only destroyed his body. His soul and mind remained. Had I known about this, I wouldn't even have done that. That will truly disappoint my superiors. They were quite adamant that I should try to persuade you to join our cause and fulfill your foretold duty. Is that why you were helping me? They thought if I guided you through your visions and showed you the appropriate passages from our holy books, you'd understand that the prophecy is real. You honestly believed I'd joined some insane cult just because you handed me some leaflets. 6 days flashbacks. Personally, no. I added these last few lines of dialogue when my testers pointed out that there was no reason why Lankman should be helping Trilby. Now it's revealed that the Order want Trilby on their side even if Lankman doesn't. Lankman seems to be somewhat embittered, possibly because he has little respect among the cultists. A knife in my gut brought an explosion of ice-cold agony. I heard the pitter-patter of my blood on the rocky floor. Ned says, hey, they were high-production value leaflets. I mean, fair. The pain, the surprise, and my exhaustion went together to cause immediate unconsciousness. I awoke to find myself splayed upon the stump, blood still slowly leaking from my wound. In my injured state, I could barely move. My limbs refused to respond. I was as weak as a newborn. Lankman! Oh good, you're awake. I was afraid you'd miss this. What are you doing? After your staggering ineptitude in Defoe Manor, the Order needed to nudge things along. We need a connection to Chzo to help administrate his coming. And today might be the only opportunity we have all year to summon the Tall Man. We're going to bring that thing into our world? Do anything after the answer to this puzzle for something creepy. Will do. After he takes your life, he will be grateful to us. And then he will guide us to our destiny. So why did you stab me? What if I'm already dead by the time he gets here? You won't be. Men like you, Trilby, die on their own terms. They don't weakly let their life slip away from one measly knife wound. Hush now, Kabadath is coming. To clarify, Nem, do you mean after we do this correctly, like reload? Lankman's plan to kill Trilby is entirely his own because of the aforementioned bitterness he harbors. Although offering him the chance to kill Trilby is how Lankman plans to endear himself to Kabadath, Trilby doesn't actually have to die for the summoning to work, just be in great pain. Ask Lankman about ritual, and I'll explain a little bit more about ritualistic blessed agonies. About ritual. What does this ritual entail? What are you going to do to us? To you, I have done all I need. To bring Kabadath to us, we must tempt him with the 3 blessed agonies. The blessed agonies of the mind, the body, and the soul. I am well conditioned to act as the mind. Your wound makes you the body. The girl will have to suffice as the soul. Okay, Blessed Agonies. In order for the summoning of the tall man to work, each of the 3 people must present must be undergoing a Blessed Agony. As is detailed in the religious texts that accompany the special edition, the Blessed Agony of the body is simply physical pain, which Trilby is suffering plenty of. The agonies of the mind are boredom, fear, and madness. Presumably as a Chzo acolyte, Linkman has put himself regularly through them, and all the Blessed Agonies as part of his worship. The agony of the soul is basically the loss of something very close to you on which you rely for emotional support. Siobhan has lost Abed, her mentor and possible lover, and it seems she's about to lose Trilby. It's not a perfect arrangement, but as Linkman says, lacking anyone else, you'll just have to do. Okay, we're gonna save. Nem says, when you do the puzzle correctly, use the text thingy. Oh, okay. I call thee, Kabadath, to the wood that is your soul. I call thee from the north. From my position, I can only see a small portion of the Wavering Cavern. I can see the idol of John Defoe on the stump before me, my bloody waistcoat lying discarded in the corner. From my other senses, I can detect the presence of Siobhan and the redoubtable Linkman. So, just so I can show it off properly, I'm not going to do the puzzle here. I'm just going to let ourselves lose, and so I can load later. I call thee from the east. I call thee from the south. I call thee from the west. Reality flits from realm to realm, tormented, confused. End this madness that we might bring thee to us. End it, Kabadath! I present thee with blessed agonies, body, mind, and soul. I present thee with the guide, failed in his duty, for thee to judge. Come! I hate Cults mood. Come! Sup, tall man? How you doing, bro? And that's just the same text we got before. Cool. Let me just make sure I know how to do this right. My attempts to move only made things worse. I felt a stab of pain and something snapped behind my eyes, filling my vision with spots. Now, I don't know if we have to do it now or if we have to do it, like, once the tall man shows up, but I'm gonna try and do it now. Ned says Linkman bored AF during the summon lol. Not yet, but I was pretty close. Okay. I literally have to do it when the tall man shows up. Yeah, as it turns out, the solution here is to just die and not serve as the purpose he wants you to serve. It's becoming harder and harder to breathe. Air rattled in and out of my lungs like a buzzsaw. I think it's because we tried to stand up, which we didn't do last time. My vision was clouding up around the edges. It seemed like my stubborn will was the only thing keeping me alive. Die. I died. This is my favorite puzzle in the game because it's the last thing people expect. All this time I've been trying to get the player to identify with Trilby's character, maybe even gain affection for him. But then I make it clear that Trilby has to die, and that it can only be done by the player's own hand. I've been playing mind games with you this whole adventure, and this is the last of them. Now here's where Nem said to try and use the text box again. It's just for it, more it hurts. Yeah, okay, it's just it hurts. Yes, but at this point, he's dead. Exactly. What? He's dead? No, that's not possible! Master! Master, please, no! 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 Time for the special extended version of this scene. I'll shut up while you watch it reverently. Trilby? Oh, Trilby. Go back, Trilby. Leave me alone. I'm dead. Not yet. Not fully. Your mind and soul are drifting apart from your body. With enough power, there is still time to pull them back. But you must have the will to return. Forget it. I've had enough. I did the assignments. I made myself useful. I lived up to the reputation Defoe Manor gave me. Today, I gave everything I could. And I still died. There is still work to be done. You have not yet completed your duty. I'm sick of duty. I'm sick of prophecy. Just let me sleep. Stronger men than you have tried to fight destiny. None succeed. Past, present, and future are all different faces of the same die, and few can see them all at once. But I can, and the future demands that you live. Return now. I have marked the path. Please, just let it end. Pleading to me is useless. I am just as much a prisoner of fate as you. The future your actions are destined to bring about has already taken place. Without your part, I would not be here to restore you to life. So you see, by my mere presence your decision is already made. Who are you? A murderer, and a madman, and a puppet of forces neither of us could possibly comprehend. Woo, what the hell was that all about, right? Find out in our next exciting episode. Trilby! Trilby, say something. What? You're alive. Oh God, I didn't even know if I was doing it properly. But I did it. You're alive. Trilby was completely dead for a short time, not just comatose. And Siobhan's words indicate that her CPR skills aren't up to scratch. All of which hint that perhaps it was some other force that restored Trilby to life. Where's Linkman? That tall man took him. He did something horrible to him. And then he took him away. Where's my waistcoat? In the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Shh, don't talk. I've already called for an ambulance. Let's get you back upstairs. Wait. See that wooden doll? Yes? Bring it with us. Wrap it tightly in clothes and bring it with us. Don't let it touch your bare skin. Okay. And now it sits across from me. The reality shift has cleared up and we were free to leave. An STP cleanup crew arrived with the ambulance. No trace of Abed or the hotel staff was found. Officially, they've been classified as unexplained disappearances. Linkman and the tall man seem to have also vanished, which does not surprise me in the least. Siobhan signed the Official Secrets Act, and last I heard is staying with her parents to recuperate. Which just leaves me to write up my notes, with an idol that haunts my dreams gazing at me from across the desk. Cast your mind back to the earlier desk scene, and you may realize that Trilby's desk lamp has jumped over to the other side of the desk since then. Perhaps it's because of the ghost! Ooh! Originally, there were little white dots in Trilby's eyes, but that made him look a bit sinister. I was dead. I can't pretend I wasn't. No amount of CPR could have brought me back from where I was. So who did? The man in red? Who was he, if not an insane hallucination and brain death? Unimportant. I am alive, and that's all that matters. Just that, and the destiny of this wretched silhouette that I am apparently forced to carry out. Statuette. Every instinct of my being wants to burn it to ashes and grind them into the dirt, but I do not. Ned says, "You think they'd coat that doll in lacquer, metal, and cloth specifically to prevent people from touching it?" Lankman spoke of a prophecy, that this destruction of John Defoe's soul would somehow help him and his order summon their dark god. So if I destroy the idol, they win. But what else can I do? I certainly can't keep it. I know from experience that it leaks malevolent influence like a broken pipe leaks water. So the book differently, Morpheus talks more about Ministry of Occultism and has Derek Badger from Yahtzee's game Poacher. Oh, that's cool. The only other option is to hide it, but where can I hide such a thing and ensure that it is never found again by human hands? I shall have to think about this. Trilby's hat signature had to be included because we see it on the side of the locker in 7 Days a Skeptic. And then Adam Gilkenny whacks it over our heads with the line, "Who the hell signs his name with a hat?" CRG Ghost asks, "What games have you played today?" We have played 5 Days a Stranger, Fulfillment of the Prophecy Continues, a ritual for the summoning of Chzo will go ahead. Events have been set in motion that cannot be stopped. Sorry, I thought there would be no more dialogue. Hi, tall man. We have the blood of the guide. Now we must wait. Is that Linkman? Wait and prepare. That's Trilby's waistcoat in the tall man's left hand, by the way. I'm really paranoid that people didn't pick up on that because the order requiring some of Trilby's blood is an important part of the next game. That is very true. Okay, so that's just him holding the coat. I won't make any comments during the scrolling text sequence because I'm afraid it might mess the text up or something. Okay. We have played 5 Days a Stranger, 7 Days a Skeptic, and now we have played Trilby's Notes. It is now 11:11, and we have been streaming for little over 8 hours. Oh, shit, okay. And on the 8th and 20th day of the 7th month, blah, 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 it said this, O king, I beseech you, for this land has become corrupt without your benevolent hand, and darkness seems to envelop us all. I demand of you to cross the border between our gods and make things right, for my power is great, and I have it in my power to control one even as great as you. And the king was rightly amused, for while the arrogant man's power was indeed great, the king's power was greater still, and the king said, I will not submit myself, for firstly my power is greater than yours, and not yours to command. Secondly, while my capabilities are many, it is impossible for me to enter this land of technology, for the border is a dark and treacherous ocean I cannot will away. But I will do this for you, O arrogant man. For all the bigness of your head, you are still small enough to be spared the rigors of the dark ocean. I shall rescue you from the darkness in the land of technology, and you shall live in my household, and here you will learn humility. And as the king said it, so was it so, and the arrogant man crossed the ocean to the house of the king, where he was brought before his majesty, who said, Now you must repay me for the slight your arrogance caused me, for despite your insult I love you as I love every man and beast, and you must learn to take this love into your heart. God, that went by too quick. And the king took the body and mind of the arrogant man and separated them from his soul, and this he placed in a great tree in the land of technology, and with this action he announced, Now you are the tree, and the tree is you, and the wood is your soul. With this gift of separation, your body shall not wither or die throughout your lessons. But should any man interfere with the tree that is your soul on the day that is mine, I shall lend you the power to confront them and strike them down with fitting vengeance. And then he touched the arrogant man and filled his heart with his warming love, and the arrogant man became the prince, and he knew the name of the king. And the prince and the court of the king bowed down and wept and sang with great praise the name of the king, for great and generous was his wisdom. The Books of the Chzo, Book of the Prince, Chapter 2. Any more text for me? Just credits? Okay. So we have one more game in this series. It's called, 6 Days of Sacrifice. But as I said, we've been going for 8 hours. If we were to continue, which I'm down to do, it would be another probably about 2 to 3 hours. Bed, read my things, then bed. Oh, Nem said, which is like Cave Story, except you're an unflappable Yorkshireman instead of a silent red boy. I see. So, I'd wanted to get through the whole series in one day. We really should have started at 1. You guys are wanting sleep? Yeah, okay, we'll have to cut it here then. And I will have to, make time to play 6 Days of Sacrifice on stream very soon for everyone. Good stream, but rest well? Yeah. No, I mean, it's definitely been probably the longest stream we've had to date. At least tied, if not. Well, let me just say thanks again to all those guys I credited here. And let me also thank you for donating and playing the special edition. It's been fun, kids. Ciao for now. So, thank you to everyone for spending your Halloween day with me and my birthday with me, enjoying the first 3 out of 4 games of the Chzo Mythos series. Honestly, one of my favorite indie horror series. I'm really happy to introduce it to you guys. And like I say, we'll make sure to play the final game of it soon. It's definitely a good one. Not quite as good as Trilby's Notes, but I mean, it's the finale for the series. Of course, it's pretty amazing. So once again, thank you to everyone for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I will see you sometime in the next week. Don't forget, with Spooktober over, Zelda month has begun, and we are getting into Skyward Sword on Friday.